every one of our kids has done this when they teeth. Because they just they spike a fever and they get weird poops and then they get ornery for a day or two and then they're fine.
Yeah, that sounds like teething.
That sounds like me when I go drinking.
When I'm popping
That's going in the opening.
Taco Bell run.
Yeah, right.
So.
Day or two later, everything's fine. All right, wee hours in the morning. All right. Speaking of which, it's probably the wee hours in the morning for Paul. So let's get this rolling. All right, welcome to another episode of Oh shit! All right, welcome to another episode of right.
I want to try that one again.
I went into like a weird cycle all of a sudden. All right, welcome to another episode of Snafu. I almost said episode again. Shit.
Anytime you're ready.
It's the best opening ever.
This will keep all of this in here, Pat. It'll be great.
It's like
everyone will love
all over again. Jesus.
Everyone. Well, I'm like you just said. I'm like still waking up, and we just did this, so I didn't think I have to do it again anytime soon.
Rick, just pretend it's us. No one's listening to this shit. Okay.
Right.
Oh, ouch! Nobody is listening to this shit, right? All right. Ready? Ready to go?
Snafu. Situation normal. All fouled up. This is Snafu.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Snafu. I'm Rick. With us tonight, say hi, Pat.
Hello.
Say hi, Jeff.
Oh, hi, Jeff.
Wait, did we lose him already?
Do you forget who you were?
No, I forgot I pushed
into the microphone. Say hi, Dale.
Hey, Dale.
And then special guest tonight, last but not least, say hi, Paul.
Aloha, everybody, and I'm flattered to be special for you.
Oh, you're special. Always special. So welcome to episode 54. We're gonna do a couple things a little differently tonight. Paul has a lot of things that he wants to talk about that I think they're pretty cool. We've seen some things.
Talking about this for a while, and I think Paul's going to give us the full Monty here.
He better.
Oh man,
and it better not be. Here's the website link that we're going to update in a couple of weeks because that's
Let's not do that to us.
We might get to the 6-hour limit if I'm just speaking then.
Well, we'll ask some questions along the way. We'll try and help.
We'll try and derail and pry some secrets.
Yeah. All right, but we're going to start with hobby because that's where we always start. Pat said he had something, so I'm going to ask Pat first.
I put my Marines away.
Oh, well, that's very hobby of you.
And I did actually. I did start the motor pool up. So I've got 2 3/4 ton Dodges. I got the M4 105 Sherman, and a couple of M24 rockets. Thanks again, Ducat. They're all primed and have base coat on and ready to start painting.
Wait, did you say a couple?
Well, yeah. So
it is a motor pool.
It is a motor pool.
I mean, 2 rocket launchers, though.
Yeah, you can run dual platoon at Bug Eater.
Why have one when you can take 2?
At twice the
price. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so
I saw that movie too.
I got several versions of the print from Dewey Cat, and the second or third one I did a print on, and then he started going, "Oh wait, here I fixed this. Oh wait, here I fixed this," and then I printed his third or fourth final one. So I ended up with
sure. So are you telling me you're gonna have 4 of them?
No. Well,
because you could do that too.
If I did an armor platoon, I could run 5.
No. You just run 2 big ones. You run 2 truck ones, and then you run 2 on the ground ones.
No,
so you have
if you
2 land mattresses and 2 rocket launchers.
If you do a tank platoon like we talked about last episode, you do the 3 gun stewards and 2 rocket trucks.
Don't give Dale any ideas. He's gonna find 6 Gazes and 14 Katyushas in a list somehow.
No. I'm combined arms. One trick ponies only ever win 1 out of every 2 games.
Well, that's not really a one trick pony when you have like 10 of them.
1 out of 2 games, that'd be like a winning record for Rick.
That's like 200 trick pony. You got 10 Gazes on the table. All right. Anyway,
shudder.
Well, I mean, I mean, if it's important to win and you want to play on easy mode, then that's okay. That's fine.
Russia what?
You might find
Japanese.
a little bit more enjoyable
Oh,
enjoyment in normal mode or hard mode or survival mode, where you're really challenging.
Survival mode. That's playing Norwegians.
Yeah. Survival plus.
Yeah, right.
Suicidal.
All right.
That's past survival. It's suicidal.
It is a bit of what I've said this before, that you got to be kind of deprecating. Like, I don't know. That's not defecating either.
A bit of a sadomasochist.
Sadomasochist. That's the word I was looking for, to play Norwegians. Or you got to be expecting not to win for sure. Anyway, all right. So that was something Pat did. Dale, have you worked anything since like a week ago?
Since like
when we were last recorded?
I ordered some new heads for 40K army that I'm working on.
Damn it.
Okay.
But
there's some sweet heads though. I saw those heads.
It's pretty sweet. So I'm kind of excited about that. And that's about it. So
I mean, it's not been that long. So all right, yeah. Jeff. So Jeff's painted an entire army since then, I'm sure.
Not the entire army. Most of it. Part of it,
The Italians still?
I'm going to get those. I'm trying that. A while back, I said I'd make an attempt to spend a lot of time on each miniature, and this is the army I'm going to try it with. It's really frustrating to me to paint this slow, so I'm sort of struggling with that right now, but I'm working on it.
Keep going. Keep doing it.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of what you could do to kind of like change it up. I mean, if you have to okay, I have to slow down. I don't think that's not going to be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
I love the idea
to have a lot of detail on it, so you have to slow down.
I love the idea of doing single models at a time. I'm jealous.
Are you doing it single model at a time, Jeff?
Yeah. Normally I paint every army I've ever done assembly line, so like you get 10 at a time, right. One color. And I'm doing each guy individually this time, and it's not my bag. But I'm trying it because I said I would.
That breaks my heart. Yeah,
I mean, I think I've got 5 or 6 painted armies already, so it's kind of like, all right, let's take our time on one and see what we can do. But it's definitely not my style. But you got to do new things to grow.
You can still batch paint, but you just do more layers, more blending on each go around.
Yeah. Nah.
Not if the brain doesn't want to do that.
Right.
Well, you're used to batch painting, so that wouldn't be that significant of a change for you.
Yeah, I think maybe Dale's onto something. Maybe you don't stop batch painting, but maybe instead of 3 steps or whatever it is, I don't know how many steps you normally do, 5 steps, you make it 8 steps.
Or actually choose an army that lends itself to painting individual miniatures like partisans, because each one would be different or unique in the way that they're painted.
Yeah, or drop some of Jamie's partisans, his Warsaw partisans. They're lovely.
Yeah, those
the new ones.
Those are fantastic looking.
Yeah. That way each model is its own, and you can find different things to do with it. Otherwise, you might fall into a trap of painting the same guy 20 times, again and again and again and again and again.
Just about impossible with Jamie's models, to be honest. So I would go that way. Get some of Jamie's models; they're beautiful.
Maybe I know I've been seeing people doing recent like bolt action challenges. Not to mention other podcasts.
I'm saying nothing.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing one too. That's true, actually. Yeah. Doing something like that would be interesting if we all got partisan armies and had to paint them. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
A lot of
Maybe I'll give that a shot, because I've noticed over this entire staying at home break here, the things I've had the most fun painting is I often order individual miniatures from like North Star when they have those individual cool ones come out. And I love painting those individual guys. So maybe I'll try that approach.
It's probably a little more daunting when you see another, 50 dudes sitting behind that one, though.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I don't know how many are in your list, Rick, that you have to paint.
Which list? The Romanians?
Yeah.
There's 80 boot stompers there, and then there's I don't know, probably 4 or 5 other pieces to go with it. 5 other pieces to go with it. But 80 dudes, that sounds like fun, right? I'm not looking forward to it. Thankfully, in that case, like kind of like what Jeff was saying, though, that they're all in winter. They're in their winter wardrobes, and I've got a mix of some German stuff, some Soviet stuff, kind of like blending that where the Soviet just basically took back Romania. So thankfully, I'll have some variants to some degree. Who knows if it'll look good or if it'll make sense to anyone? I mean, why is a German guy fighting with the Russian guy? Like, don't worry about it.
They're all fine. They've gotten over it.
Right?
They've made up.
Well, and the funny thing is I was talking to one of somebody else that plays bolt action in the Twin Cities area, and he was talking about how I can't corroborate this because I can't find any information about this. So if anyone has this information, I would love to hear from them that listens to us, of all 5 people of you. He was talking about how the Romanians had to wear armbands because they didn't want to get shot by whatever side they were fighting for. So they actually switched armbands after the Soviets took them under their control. So it was like, I haven't found that information anywhere. So it's a little bit frustrating.
That sounds familiar. I think I've heard that somewhere, but I couldn't cite a source for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find is I've heard it. I've been told it multiple times now, but I just can't find any source. It tells you even what color it was or anything like that. Cause I'm like, that'd be nice to know,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting little piece of info. Oh, Polish Lancers. I'm looking at the website right now. It's like,
oh, look,
Polish
we're
Lancers.
shopping while we're podcasting. That's new.
Huh, imagine that. Well,
do you have Easy Army open too?
I do not. I actually just closed everything down because I was afraid that because I'm using Discord for this, that it would blow up or something. It probably still will. I have no idea. So have we asked Jeff? Yes. Dale, I haven't done anything. How about you, Paul? Have you been working on anything? What are you working on these days? Should I follow you on the internet?
You could follow me on the internet. I'm still banging away at some 8th Army very slowly because I've got a lot of other stuff on at the moment, some of which you'll get out of me tonight.
I saw you put a tutorial or a video of some kind of painting 8th Army up.
Yeah, I just put one up I posted one to Warlord and the guys have put it up. So I'm going to help them out with a few videos, but I'm no fantastic painter, but for people that want to get tabletop standard on the table, it's another version method of doing it. So hopefully
we shared that on our Facebook page for you too. So
thank you. Warlord, great and mighty, will be forever appreciative.
Anything bolt action related that looks moderately interesting, we go ahead and share. We don't care.
We're not discriminatory.
Well, seeing as that's the first thing of mine you shared, should I be in a huff?
I don't think that's the first thing we shared, is it?
Oh.
I don't think so.
That probably tells you how much I look at you.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm going to
listen to our podcast.
Any deeper.
I guess I've seen stuff from you on our website before, but I don't know. That's saying something because for the first 45 episodes, we probably didn't even use Facebook for anything. So we're kind of Luddites when it comes to this stuff. So
it is. What else?
Post pictures of Jeff stuff, and that's about it.
There's some lovely stuff out there, so I wouldn't be surprised if people didn't spend too much time on mine. So I've got the 8th Army done. What else am I up to model-wise? Well, obviously, seeing as you mentioned it, we've got the bolt action boot camp going on with 3 of my compatriots from the God's own country, Scotland.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that's supposed to be. You sent me an invite to it, and I'm like, "What is this?"
It's the tale of 4. It's the tale of 4 gamers all over again. Is what I'm seeing.
But we're not allowed to use that name.
Yeah, I know, and I think that's probably been taken, and somebody would probably tell you to stop. Yeah,
we'll get a cease and desist. But anyway, the 4 of us, we're just gonna. It's the usual, building an army, start to finish. We're going to run it over quite a few months, and people will see it popping up on Facebook and odds and things. It's just a bit of fun between guys, and I'm going to approach it sort of from a new player's point of view. even though I'm not a new player, but try and give people who are just joining a bit of an insight, and the other guys will attack it from their own approach. And then eventually we hope to all get together and have a big day out in Nottingham and beat each other to a pulp.
So as your
2022,
your new player approach, how many MMG teams have you picked up in your starter box?
Well, I'm not doing it with the starter box, and I haven't actually decided what army.
Oh,
well, by the time this goes out,
every
the
new
army
player
will have been
starts with the
decided.
starter box.
See, I think you need to start with Band of Brothers. I think you.
Well, yeah,
Like,
that's
I mean,
the new player.
where is the gateway? Where are people going to start?
where's the poll sit at right now? I saw there was one posted. What's leading?
Norwegians.
There was Norwegians, Italians,
Pirates.
and pirates.
What?
And the Spartans
okay.
haven't got any votes yet. So if you fancy the Spartans, go and have a vote for them.
We playing Heroes of
the other
Erewhon
three.
now?
What was that?
Are we playing Heroes or Warlords of? I can't even say the word.
Erewhon.
Erewhon.
Nowhere.
Exactly.
Nowhere backward.
We could be. The rules are very similar, actually, funnily enough. I've been working on doing something with that, and it's like, oh, I know these rules. Why did nobody tell me it's the same game? It's not quite the same, but...
No,
Wow. It is three-way tie. Norwegians, Italians, and pirates.
Oh, come on, pirates.
Does that mean partisans?
I'm trying to find...
It was me having a bit of fun, because I think, as I said earlier on, this isn't necessarily going to be the choice that I actually make.
Got it. Okay.
However, it may be. So if you've got a favourite, go in and vote. I think there's every nation under the sun and a few less serious nations. But this is, I don't know if you guys had it. This is the UK and European equivalent of the Boaty McBoatface when the pirates win.
Well, they named the sub after it, didn't they?
No, there was, I think it was a survey ship of some sort, and they decided the public would name it, and of course somebody did suggested Boaty McBoatface as the name of the ship, and it won the poll. But they decided that they wouldn't name it that in the end.
I think they named one of their skips or something. Yeah, like they named one of their other ships Boaty McBoatface. Finally,
they did get it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, fine, we'll name something Boaty McBoatface. It's like, it's the latrine, but who cares?
It's a big warning to all those who put polls out there, to be honest.
Yeah, the internet's a cruel world. Like, they're gonna make you play Norwegian. Yeah, for sure. That's the best part. Like,
so we're working on that boot camp, which is going to be quite good fun. We're working on early war.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying to do a historical bend to it. So once I've decided my army, I need to go, because for me, it's usually I like a unit or an army or an action or some sort of a hero that sparks my interest. So once I've decided the army I'm doing, I've got to do a bit of research to find something that lights my candle that I can run with. So we'll see what happens there. I'm going to be doing some Victory at Seas shortly. And I've got a half-painted Blood Red Skies starter pack, which I need to finish off. But I do love, although it's nothing I've done, I do like the Airfix thing that got released this week. And that isn't a plug, although it is a plug. I just like the idea of playing Blood Red Skies in 1/72 scale.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what John calls the Big Red Skies or whatever. Yeah.
Big Red Skies. I just love the idea. And for about a year and a half, I've wanted to do some, 1/72 scale planes, just because I love the detail and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, oh, this is just perfect for me. So
I'm sure that's guys at Lead Pursuit, they're looking forward to that too.
Yeah.
And those are bigger than, right?
Yeah, they're 172 instead of 200.
They're
okay. I couldn't remember the scale of. Okay, that's. Do you play it on a bigger board?
I don't think you do, actually. I haven't actually looked into the details. I just saw it up. It's floated past my desk a few times. I think there's one or two rule changes in the Airfix version. And I know what they've done is in each of the languages that they're doing it in, it's a separate leaflet. So I don't know if you remember when you get the Airfix instructions they often come in different languages on the same sheet.
Sure.
Well, they're doing a rules pack in each kit of this Big Red Skies. and each of the languages is done on a separate sheet, so you're not having to hunt through each for your language. So
Right.
that's quite cool.
That is cool.
Printed out something you can reasonably read, or do you need to put your cheaters on to figure it out?
Depends on how old you are, Pat.
It's got you there.
A young lad like him, he'd be able to read it no matter what.
I don't know. I've seen him put on his cheaters.
Yep.
Oh,
I don't have to do it to read a menu yet, so I'm still holding on to that.
Oh, that's the only time I put them on because I want to make sure they, spit in my food. So
Yeah, okay. My
that's
cheaters
'cause you
are
only
1.0. They're not
okay.
exactly
All right.
huge.
that's because you only go places where you can remember what the menu was.
yeah, right.
You can't
yeah,
kid us.
yeah.
You
That's
can
why I go
always
to
get those
Taco Bell.
McNuggets. Yep.
Except the problem is the one thing I ordered at Taco Bell they don't carry anymore. It's a beef Mexi melt, and you used to be able to order off the menu. Like you drive up and you can ask for it. God, this is stupid, but this is a tangent for you, Pat. And
Thanks.
the last time I went there, they're like, we don't make that, sir. They're like a bunch of kids, and they're like, I'm pretty sure this hasn't been on the menu since like the 90s, but can you make a Mexi melt? I'm like, it's cheese, meat, and tomatoes. Let's get this figured out, guys. This isn't that hard. And they're like, no, sorry, I can't make it. I'm like, all right, I give up. I'm not eating here anymore. So I went on a Taco Bell diet. There you go.
So
Yeah,
that's what I'm up to with hobbying now that we die. I managed to get us all to digress nicely to make up for my lack of progress.
You've got more progress than me since the last time we spoke anyway. Well, last time we did a podcast, I guess. I've been working on Romanians for a while now. Okay. Well, you've got excuses though, to be fair. So the reason why we brought you on is the North American, what is this called? The North American
competitive play
play packet?
Standard.
Organized play?
There's Warlord Games supported play. And we're organising all sorts, but we've got the North American tournaments circuit as part of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Which will be somewhat curtailed and last-minute alterations, I've got a feeling, with things coming up in the next year or so, but we'll see how it all goes.
Yeah, I mean, the world is kind of in a messy spot to start doing organized play, but it's still a thing. You can still do it.
It's quite a good environment, I guess, if you can put it like that, for us to run a kind of test bed of this. And
sure.
Not that there will be any places that will want to change it, but should there be, it gives us the opportunity to do that without making more of a mess than the season will already be.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The first thing I've noticed is that you guys are creating a website for this, which I think is cool to have like a separate spot for this. The nice little letter from John Stollard is really nice. I think
that's not on there already.
I don't know. Was it? Because I mean, it was on.
This is a repurposed website, right?
Oh, it's repurposed.
It's going to be. So the website is play at warlordgames.com, I think.
It's play.warlordgames.com.
There we go.
Yes.
Yep.
You guys got it right. And that is actually a site that was set up probably about a year ago, before things in the world changed and we were going to go ahead with this at this stage. The world did its stuff, and so that website got pretty much forgotten about. If you go on there, there's a little bit of old information, and it hasn't really been developed. And now we're going to develop that website to be a community website. And one of the things you'll be able to get there is the information about Warlord Games supported play.
Cool. So, what can we know about this? So there's what I'm just reading through the agenda here. So from what I remember hearing from this, there are different ways of doing this, and I think that's something that we'd be curious to know about. So I'm seeing like a bronze, silver, gold organized play standards. Are those like size of the events, or are those like the way that people are playing them? What does that mean for them?
It's probably a little bit of both. So we've come out with 4 standards of events that we'll support. And really the most important and probably the biggest is going to be the organized standard. and that sort of covers everything really that isn't, hard tournament based. The bronze, the silver, and the gold is like the tip of the iceberg, but the bottom of the iceberg is the most important bit.
Okay.
Well, so, that's the one that sinks the ship. So
that's the one that sinks the ship. I don't like that analogy, but fair dues.
So if
maybe we should find a different one then.
So effectively, what are the high level differences between the four standards?
Okay, well, all the standards will have various support. Basically, your bronze and your silver standard are tournament standard, and they are roughly divided into the size of the tournaments. The gold standard is at the top, and that's for people that want to have a gold standard tournament. They're going to be things we expect like regional competitions, national competitions, international competitions, and if you want Warlord games support for those, we're going to give you some guidelines to stick to for those. It's really to try and standardize some things and bring a bit of organization to the top end of the tournament scene.
Okay, so bronze and silver are effectively almost every tournament or organized tournament that a club or a store or a convention can put on for players that want to come is going to be supported in some fashion by Warlord Games, right?
We will certainly have that support there for them to ask us for. Some players won't want to take Warlord support, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. We're not trying to tell you how to run events. But for those that do, and quite a lot do, one of the things people said is it would be really good if you could give us an official stamp, so people know that we are supported, recognized by Warlord Games. And that's effectively what we've done by these little logos. If you want to use them on your players packs or your notices that are going out on Facebook or whatever, you can do. And, if people are happier knowing that Warlord are supporting it, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was I not supposed to be using that before this?
It sounds like starting with the gold level is when there's going to be a level of expectation in regards to what's expected by Warlord. But I think that's the idea behind that is simply that you're looking for some consistency across all of the tournaments at that level so that the players can go from gold tournament to gold tournament to gold tournament and kind of have a relative idea of what to expect.
Exactly. It's a wee bit more standard because that's one of the things that comes up when we're going through the community is I went to that tournament and it was totally different to the one we did at that one. And there's pros and cons with either. But if you want to be invited to the GT in future, it'll be invitation through a gold standard tournament. And when you get to the GT, you'll know what to expect because the GT certainly could do with a little bit of tightening up as we've seen in previous years. And we're focused and determined to do that to bring, a premier event.
So bronze, silver, gold, and then the GT would be the organized above that?
No. Organized is everything below that. Yeah, so that's all you guys that are having, you've got 10 guys round and you're going to do a D-Day themed event.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not so important really who's going to win. Or we've got a store that's running an event that's maybe focused on new players and they want Warlord support. But obviously it's not going to be your top 8 guys thrashing it out. You're there for a bit of fun. We're happy to support that. In fact, that's really what we want.
My understanding from having listened to John's Warlord Wednesday, I know you listened to this too, Paul, is he gave an example of that, like a bronze level had minimum requirements like 700 points and 3 games to be a bronze level event, and the organizers could decide whatever the makeup for the army composition would be, whether they were allowing theater selectors, if they're letting special characters in. And that was true of the silver level, but it was a higher points level. And then the gold was, these are the GTs, these you're earning your way into, and they're at this point only allowing the armies of books and the individual lists. Sure. Like the Australia, the Chinese, What's the other one they always bring in? I don't know. Well, hopefully they also add the Canadians from the DD book coming in. It seems like there was always 3 that didn't have their own book that they always allowed into tournaments. In Australia and China for sure.
Late War French, for example, might be one.
Yeah, the Free French.
Yeah, I'm just thinking WTC we allowed Chinese, Chinese and Australians, didn't we?
Yeah, I only ever remember 2 in most cases, but
yeah.
So basically, it sounds like
yes, you're basically right. The fine details I'll probably forget, but the documents that have these details are going to be on the playwarlordgames.com site that we were just talking about. That's going to be the community site, so you'll be able to get all those details there once that site is up and working as it should be.
Sweet.
So, are the alleged bronze, silver, and gold order dice going to be part of this thing at all?
It may be. I couldn't possibly be swayed at the moment. There's fun and games going on. As you know, Warlord are changing premises at the moment.
I do not.
In that case, I have just leaked a bit of information. John would be proud of me. So moving premises so everybody, I don't know if people, the existing Warlord it's a big building and there's lots of people use it, and as Warlord have grown, we've taken offices in this building over the place.
Sure.
Is, a rough idea. So it can, pickers have to go from a room to a room and all this kind of stuff. So we're moving to a large facility where everything's going to be in the one place, which should allow us, once we're moved, to be quicker, more efficient, etc., etc. We're in the midst of doing that move now. We're doing it in phases, so it depends which phase is moving as to where you kind of find them. To be fun and games at times, as you would expect, not,
Oh, wow. Okay, that sounds like
not bad.
Right? Hey, well, I mean, it's relevant to the fact that they have an office space and they're trying to move to that. Although it probably is a great time to do that too, from a standpoint of like not as many people maybe in the office and stuff like that. So
there's pros and cons with everything, and having to make sure that all the regulations and the information will be available there so that people can find out the fine details of it. Those documents are going to be lived.
Fabulous.
Which means, but should there be things that we wish to change, we can change them, and we can change them fairly quickly.
Suggestions for
if it needs to be so.
And you're gonna like it.
And Warlord will be very grateful for your feedback.
We could add to that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Okay. And it's all about building the community. And as a spike, which is maybe over egging the pudding, but we're hoping to get a little bit more organization and a little bit more structure for people, whilst being, for people that don't want that, they can go and do their own.
I mean, I think it's the ideal situation, right? I think it's important that you guys are doing this in a sense that, because I do think in have that extra element of, historical stuff that someone may want to, inject in there, and that can really rub down. That's one that's not meant to be today.
Yeah, so make sure you behave because we're watching you.
And this is kicking people out.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't expect to ever have to use it, but it's something that the World Team Championships have been kind enough to allow us to use, and it's just the same, more or less the same organizational chart, which again brings a bit of standardization. The World Team Championships have already done that work, and again,
don't be
it's
a
living
raging
document.
D-bag and you can keep playing.
Yeah, it's the old don't be a dick, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of rule,
I mean,
but we've kind of embellished it a little bit.
Sure. Nothing like embellishing. Never mind.
Exactly. You can't polish a turd, I think, is what you're looking for.
No, sure. No, I mean, but those are all important things if you're going to have like a standardized, organized play, is that you do address those issues. And I think that's good to have in there as a tournament organizer. That's, I hate to have to be able to do this, but it's like, or have to kick someone out of a tournament. I don't know that we would ever have to in our tournament situation, but it's, hey, it's here. Here's how we're handling it. Don't be a douche. Like, let's move on. you're still being a douche, then it's time to leave.
And when those situations happen, as they do from time to time, it's not very often, at least there's now a system in place that they'll be handled consistently.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking for, is a bit of consistency, just a little bit of organization, or structure is a better word, a little bit of structure, but we're not trying to force anybody to do anything they didn't want to do. One of the things, I've seen a couple of messages going about that we're going to go down the routes, if you only play with Warlord models, like certain other systems, that is not the case, and certainly happen over my dead body for what it's worth.
But you're just going to require that they use the Warlord rulebook, right?
I think they'll require that, perhaps.
What do you mean? I'm playing Flames of War today.
Hey, some folk have tried, mate. I'll believe it.
Dude, yeah, I'm sure that's not an outrageous idea.
The amount of version 1 rulebooks we see is amazing.
Oh, good call, actually. They look so similar, too. They would be hard to spot them right away.
So, yeah, it's funny when you keep getting called across for things. You think, you go, what rulebook are you using, mate? He's got version 1, and you're like, man, that's why.
Come over here with me. We have a store where you can buy. By the way, if you were unaware, there's a new version of the rules. Oh, that would make so much sense if you were playing version 1 when everyone else is playing 2.
It does happen, believe you me.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's a newer version of the rules. I wouldn't call it new. It's been 5 years, so. Well,
if you've got a version 1 rule book, I mean, to be fair, if you're playing version 1, it's still a new book then. It's like a kid in a candy store at that point.
Actually, I don't think it's been 5 years, but.
Oh, it's not been 5 years. It's been 2.5.
It's been 54 podcast episodes.
Right, essentially.
I think it's been more than 3 years.
Yeah.
If you have a first edition book, get your second edition book because it should still be valid for long enough to be worthwhile. So.
Exactly.
Right? And you can buy a PDF if you really feel, frisky, and it's cheaper that way. And you get it right away.
Ironically enough, I have my version 1 rule book in my hand right now.
Why?
Because I was looking up something a while back for something and comparing them between the two versions. Just because I do weird shit like that, Rick. I look up rules for fun. Come on.
So, Paul,
old books. Wow. Okay.
Just to follow up, I'm going through the website still, and it does say season 1 tournament.
That's old stuff. Yeah, that's old.
It's
stuff.
Old stuff.
Although
it starts April.
Yeah, we never got to the Blitzkrieg. So the packs that are going out to stores and support for tournaments at the moment will have those Blitzkrieg medals. And we are calling season 1 when we eventually get this tournament. We are going to call it Blitzkrieg again. So we're making use of those medals.
Okay.
But as we go ahead, we'll probably therefore name the various seasons different things.
All right. So once this gets rolling, and COVID notwithstanding, of course, do we envision a season lasting for a year, or what's the plan? Do we, is it a 6-month season, or what's the plan?
We're starting off in North America at the moment, so the season is going to last end of national to end of national, which is at the moment still going to be Adepticon for the foreseeable future, as far as I can tell.
All right.
We've got, I don't know if people will know, I don't know you've mentioned it before, we have 10 regions in North America, 2 in Canada and 8 in the United States. And the plan is that each one of those regions, or I think sectors is what we're calling them, each one of those sectors will have a regional competition where you get automatic entry to the nationals, and then it'll culminate in the nationals at Adepticon.
All right.
Cool.
So season 1 is going to be fairly short unless Adepticon gets moved, because at the moment I don't think Adepticon has been scheduled for next year yet, which is normally March.
As I say, I don't see it not being in the same time frame, because that's
moving
it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I wonder. From what I understand, is that they typically look at the spring break schedule and try and hit that wherever makes the most sense. So
it'll be longer than a year, because I hope we do get Adepticon safely next year, but it'll probably be the year after I envisage that Adepticon will happen again. So from the North American standpoint, everything's geared towards getting to nationals.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, and Nationals obviously will be a gold standard event.
I know the website isn't completely done right now, so I'm not going to
Yes.
critique it too much. But there's some cool. I love the live action video in here. It's really nice to like a very modernized website. When it's all said and done, it's going to look great. Like I'm super excited to see where it goes.
It is. It looks really nice. It's a little bit clunky. We do have other things on, and I'll probably drop those in. Shall I drop a wee drop now? Why not? So we're looking to make use of Easy Army as part of this.
Oh, fabulous!
And we are currently in talks, and Easy Army is going to be fixed.
Fabulous. That's a huge
tournament organizers can use and accept lists from Easy Army and be confident that those lists are correct, or if they send us a correction, it will be corrected quickly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that. So I presume some of that will be conversation between you and I'm spacing the guy's name because there's a single individual that runs Easy Army. Very thankful for his support of such an awesome game.
Yeah, Greg's been brilliant, and he did it. He started off doing it with very little support, and it is a fantastic tool. Unfortunately, for the top end tournament scene, we can't use these lists because it makes checking such a difficulty. But we are talking with Greg, and that is going to be fixed. And Greg's very keen to do it as well. That's all I understand. I haven't actually talked to Greg, but going through the office, I've been involved in it over the last few weeks.
We should shoot him a couple dollars and have him make a Snafu selector.
Ooh. Everything from every army is in one army list. How's that sound?
Yeah, but max of 12 order dice and those kinds of things. So
no points. All
hey.
So the other thing with that, I guess, is that we've been talking to Best Coast Pairings, which is tournament software. Some of you are aware of. Yep. Some people won't be. And we're going to, for bronze, silver, gold, you will need to use the Best Coast Pairing software, which will make life a lot easier for tournament organizers. It will also mean that we can collect the results so that from future, for example, for the GT, we know who we're inviting. And one of the criticisms at the last GT and one of the rather interesting things for us to organize was when people had been invited multiple times or some people hadn't been invited, and it was a bit of a mess. So that's going to help us to do that. It means we can have the results will be available to everybody at tournaments. You'll know what the draw is. If you have your phone, it will be sent to your phone. So There's no wandering around looking at lists pinned to the wall.
I have to do well enough in order to play at Adepticon. Is that what you're saying?
We all have to do well enough to play it.
Well, I mean, I have to go play these tournaments and get my points or whatever just to play at Nationals.
Gotta qualify.
Nationals isn't the only event that's on at Adepticon. There's 4 or 5 bolt action events on. Nationals will be the only one that you qualify for.
Right, so we can go play in teams or
any
other one of the
Combat
events.
Patrol.
I know also that Nationals last time around when they were trying to put this together, if they took all the qualifiers from all of the regions, they still wouldn't have had enough players to fill in all the spaces. So once the qualifiers come in, there may be
the qualifiers will come in and the additional spaces, as you say, may be available. There's other things that Best Coast Pairings may allow us to do in the future, and we're talking with Best Coast Pairings at the moment. But one of the things, obviously, it allows us to do is for people to upload their lists to the software so that, first of all, TOs can check them if it's required, and secondly, your opponents can see them when they go to the table.
Sweet. That's fantastic.
And there's lots of other things that are handy with Best Coast Pairings. It allows us to allow players to enter their own results with a PIN code, and it just makes the TO's life a wee bit easier. So we're going to be using that. It makes our life easier because we can gather the results. And that's one of the things that we found very difficult is actually getting certain TOs to send results to us.
Sure.
Pat, I didn't think of the four of us, you would be the first one replaced by software.
Wow.
Well, as people know, my PC Mark 1, otherwise the pen and paper, will always be handy just in case.
Hey, my spreadsheets were just fine. They did everything they needed to.
Well, and the tricky thing is I've looked at Best Coast pairing because I know that Renegade Open uses Best Coast pairing for all of their other stuff, and they were actually trying to encourage us to use it for their purposes, for their to help them with all their stuff. But it has some limitations that are kind of out of our control for the Snafu format, where we're not necessarily assigning players to tables. It's actually kind of problematic, and it's
great for competitive play, but we run a narrative event, so
well, we are talking about ways the way we can run narrative events. So don't just give up hope altogether.
No. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm pretty sure we could go in and
you're reeling me back in.
Yeah, no, I think at the end. Go ahead.
If it came to it, and there was an event like that, and Best Coast pairings just wasn't going to do the job for you, no problem.
We'd just send the results.
Right. We will work around it.
Of course,
we're not trying to be, totally Big Brother here, but we're just trying to make life easier for most people most of the time.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I think we'd still want to structure our event in such a way that there is some reasonable semblance of individual achievement, so that we could submit results of the players that would help them to qualify. But, again, we're working with the whole narrative style of it. But, it's not, like you said, it's not a rough and ready, you have to fall within these restrictions. So,
yeah,
sure. Right. And the only main thing is the gold level says that it has to be this, and that's the driving force, as I understand it.
You've got it in one.
Cool. So,
what about their guidelines? At the end
what
of the
about
day.
these scenario packets that I've heard rumor of?
Well, one of the things about this whole tournament scene is we didn't really want to change anything drastically from what we already know. So there's a whole new structure coming, but you're going to feel as though you understand it all. There's nothing really new. So what we're doing is one of the suggestions we've had from various places is that we need more tournament scenarios. The ones in the book aren't all necessarily suitable for tournament play.
That is a very good understatement.
Maybe we don't need more. We just need to eliminate some that we're like, you should never see tournament play. Like one to play with your clubmates and stuff, but maybe you should never see tournament competitive play.
Yeah, there's some tournaments where you never see certain scenarios, and WTC, the World Team Championship, is a perfect example. There are certain scenarios that we don't play. We always play from 8 so far.
As a captain,
in the book.
As a captain, I think there's too many in the pool. You need to eliminate more.
Well, we did, because we've got 6 games. We had to have more than 6, so
No, you can have just 6. You can have just 6. It's okay.
We could have the 6 and rotate them. Anyway, the point being for this is that we've put together 12 scenarios which we feel are more suitable for tournament play. We have had various people look at them. We have taken on board some suggestions, not other ones, because we didn't want to change the scenarios substantially from what they already are. We've reformatted them a little bit, which we hope and feel will be easier for TOs and for players, so that TOs aren't getting so many questions and players can get on with their games. They will have updates and changes and, what did the silly guy do that for? And because it's a living document, we're going to be able to change them. And we're hoping to, with time, increase those 12 scenarios to around about 20 scenarios for competitive play.
Jeez.
I got it on good word that a Snafu scenario made it into that pack.
Yep.
I couldn't possibly be drawn. But yeah, some folk have been very good to us, but most people will recognize these from somewhere or other. So there shouldn't be any big surprises to most guys that have been playing tournaments for a year or two. They'll recognize them in one form or another. Because quite a lot of tournaments like to do their own because they feel the book ones aren't that great, or they just want something different, or they're playing a campaign style thing. So I don't think there's anything in there that will be too new for you. And then further down the line, we can add in new scenarios, a few at a time, build it up to 20 that we feel are good, and get something that's standard, and there's just enough choice in there for people to be able to use, and enough choice that people can't, from the tournament end, can't start list building for scenarios.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I almost would say that if you get 20 lists or 20 scenarios that you only, like if you're doing seasons like Blitzkrieg and whatever the next one is after that, you only give them 10 and then save 10 for the next one.
Yeah,
right.
might be we do that. Or it's, this season, these are the scenarios we're playing.
Yeah.
Part of the idea as well is that further down the line, we can change little bits of things to give a bit more variety to the tournament scene whilst trying to keep the level playing field.
Cool.
Because we don't always want to be just choosing generic scenarios from the army book. There might be something we can pop in there just to give a wee bit of something that gives you, now we've got to think about listing in a slightly different way for this season.
Yeah. I think that's the key, right? Is that you're keeping it fresh so that every tournament isn't exactly the same.
We're trying to keep the experienced guys, giving them new challenges. For the new people, we really want more people in to make the community bigger, to have more people having fun. And we want to make the entry level, the organized play, nice and easy for them and very welcoming.
Cool. It's a great place to start. Yeah. I'm excited and encouraged by, the amount of support that you guys are putting forth into the community stuff. I think it goes a long way. I hate it when companies put something out there and they don't stand behind it or don't want to they don't want it to, be a competitive game, or I think that there's something to be said that you guys are willing to say, we're going to make it so that you can play this competitively, and then your guys are going to back it up and support it. That's important.
Yeah.
So and the great thing I feel about Bolt Action is it's a game for everybody. You don't have to be competitive. You don't have to be, just historical. You can be a bit in between. There's something there for everybody, and we're trying to give as much support as appropriately as we can to everybody. And it's important that people realize that the guys that play the tournaments all the time are just the smallest part of the community. And that's the thing, is to build the community and to have more people having fun and getting into the game.
Totally. Most of us aren't great big jerks. So,
well, most of us.
That's not what the guys say. And that's where it comes from. So another couple of things to try and help that along that we've done is we've come up with play styles. So each event that goes on, we'll assign it a play style, either relaxed, formal, or premier.
So no shirts, and then suit.
Yeah, you can have
and
tops
uniforms.
off if you like.
Premier is no pants.
Hey, I go commando under that kilt of mine, mate.
That's TMI, dude. I don't need to know these things.
So that's just a little something that allows people to know what to expect if they're thinking about going, entering a tournament or an event. And we're also going to label them with competition style. At the moment, those are going to be either basic or advanced. So, I suppose loosely describing that as themed or competition, hard end. We might expand those a little more with time. But that's, again, we're trying to give people an idea. If you as a TO, you want the right people coming to your event, and the people want to go to the right event. And it's kind of just a small way that perhaps we can match up expectations for people.
So we would be relaxed, basic, or beginner friendly, I think, Snafu.
So. Yeah, why not? And the more of those events we do, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, not every tournament needs to be formal, gold level, ultra competitive, like must stomp seals all day long.
Yes, but even at those events, you can have fun. I mean,
you can.
We played against you guys in the pairs, haven't we, Pat?
Yep,
we had a
bit
of fun. So
Absolutely.
it doesn't always. And I've run various events, and even
Wish
at the
we
World
could have
Team
finished that game.
Championships, even at the World Team Championships, there's a lot of serious games going on, but there's a lot of games where you haven't asked them to keep quiet because there's so much laughing and joking going on. So, you can be friendly at whatever level you play, or you can be a bit more serious if that's what floats your boat.
Totally. No, I think the key that you guys are getting at, though, is that people know what they're getting into before they go into it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important because, like, walking into WTC, like, I have an expectation that, everyone's going to be are going to try and be beating the crap out of each other, right? Not physically, but on the table. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But you're going to have a good time doing it, and that's totally fine. Whereas if, like, somebody new walked into that format, they might be like, what did I just get myself into? So at least having some labels to put around it saying, like, maybe this isn't for the beginner. Like, go play it.
This shouldn't be your first tabletop tournament you've ever played.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's just basically saying, like, because I think if you get like-minded people together that are playing in a like-minded tournament, you're going to have more fun. Everyone's going to have fun. There's nothing about competitive that isn't fun unless someone's being a total D-bag, which happens on occasion. Yeah. But they happen at the lowest level events. It doesn't matter what kind of event it is. Those people are those people, and you're just going to have to deal with them. But if everyone's competitive, it doesn't mean that it's not fun. Like, it should be fun. If it's not fun, everyone should be doing something else with their time.
At the end of the day, it's got to be fun. How you get your fun is up to you, and hopefully this is just going to help people have a little bit more fun. We don't want the new guy coming along or the historical guy coming along to, for example, I don't know, the British Bolt Action League, which puts itself out there as a hard-nosed competition, and then feeling they've been cheated is the wrong word, but they've been missold because the guy across from them is running the Stalingrad wrist with all your duplicates. So it's hopefully it just lets people match their expectations a little bit better.
Sure. It's just
and that's what we're intending to do. We're not trying to force people to do things. It's just, this is the type of event you've just signed up for, so this is what to expect.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's a key element to tournaments, especially since there are such a varying way of doing them, and especially with a World War II game. I think that's important. Fabulous. I love it.
And as I say, as it goes along, we might decide to embellish those, have more grades or whatever once we get the feedback, and we'll see.
Sweet. I am super excited to see where this goes. Obviously, right now we aren't seeing any tournaments, so even any tournament talk is great. So keep going, keep doing it.
There are a few tournaments on, actually, odd ones. So. Yeah, there are odd tournaments on here and there. And again, once we get the Play website up, anything that's Warlord Games Support to Play event is going to be on there. So you'll be able to find your events in one place.
That's also
and eventually we'll roll that out to all the countries where Bolt Action is played, hopefully.
That's fabulous. I think that's another great thing to do for the community as far as, there's a million Facebook groups out there, and I've seen enough, here's our event, and you're like, I don't know where to find this. So you're hunting and pecking for stuff. If there's Warlord supports it, it's on your website. That's fabulous. That's a great element too. I'm excited.
We'll have to remember to get ours put up on that website then.
I'm sure ours will be the first, Pat. Ours will be the first.
We'll have to pay attention so when everything goes live, because I'm sure there will be information out there for TOs, how to contact us, how to get your event listed.
There will be more. Well, the contact for everybody is the email, which is tournaments. That's tournament with an S. Tournaments @warlordgames.com.
Okay.
And that's going to be the first contact point for everybody, and the focus there is for one person to be overseeing everything, so it should run more smoothly once it's up and running. There will be mistakes, but the idea is, in theory, it should run more smoothly.
That's fabulous.
As long as everyone understands that you're still, that's why North America is the test. Hopefully we can iron things out before those everyone else across the world who takes things more seriously than apparently we do.
Things are going to go wrong all the time, but we should be able, with this format, we should be able to fix things, and we're here to try and support the community. Is
cool.
Exactly what we're here for.
All right.
Awesome. Fabulous. I'm going to say something that I forgot to say at the beginning of this episode that I'm really burying the lead on this one. Our second half of this episode is actually the D-Day book that's about to release. Whoops, I forgot to mention that. By the way, hopefully it's in the title so everyone knows that it's not just Paul and us. It's also D-Day, British and Canadian sectors. What do you think of this book, Paul? Before we mosey on.
I've been excited for all the D-Day books. I got across to D-Day last year to go to the French Nationals.
Cool.
And it was absolutely fabulous. So anything D-Day I'm really interested in. And because I'm particularly interested in commandos, I'm very excited for this book coming out. There's going to be a section on the commandos.
Way to steal our thunder.
The follow-up book. Yeah. Well, sorry. No,
keep going. I want to hear your thoughts on this book before we go to break.
I like the book very much, but then I'm slightly biased as I know the authors.
Cool.
So, but yeah, I really like it. I think people will as well. And there's going to be new models coming out to support it at the time.
Ooh,
brilliant.
Sweet.
Which new models?
It's not aware of new models.
Infantry, I don't think I'm breaking it. You know you're already going to get new British infantry restyled. So that's all coming out. There will be some armoured support coming out. And there will be another box of plastic British infantry coming out, I believe.
Nice.
I'm intrigued.
Into silence.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm like, we're trying to.
I don't have enough British apparently, so
Right. I'm trying to figure out which new heads are going to be in those new sprues, so I can figure out how I can make more Gurkhas.
It'll be Canadians.
Canadian
heads.
Canadian Gurkhas. They're very polite, meanie, killy guys.
Scary Blighter takes on a whole new term when it's Canadians.
Scary Blighter, eh?
Scary Beaver.
New Zealand Indian
Scary
Gurkha
Beaver.
paratroops.
Here's a Labatt's blue, eh?
I don't think they existed during World War II. I'm just going to say that, Dale.
The history part in the book is I like a lot as well. It has to be said.
It's a big book, isn't it?
It's a big book. They're all becoming big books, aren't they?
Yeah, it's another almost 200 pager.
That's okay, as long as you're giving us stuff to be excited about. I don't know if there's anything else we want to talk about. Otherwise, we're going to take a short break and we'll come back and talk D-Day. Thank you, Paul, very much for joining us.
Yeah,
I'm
Paul,
super excited about where supported play is going. I think it's a huge win for the community. You guys are supporting it as well as you are. I think every game should do this. Some do it well, some don't. Most don't, actually. I think you guys are headed in very much the right direction, even if, Snafu has some say in it. We've got maybe some bias in it too. So it's appreciated what you guys are doing.
It's kicking off in America, so we've got to make sure we get out there and have tournaments and play and participate. So,
yep.
Got to collect those bronze and silver order dice.
Yeah.
Leave the gold for me.
I want more than one. That's the problem. You're going to win 12 tournaments to get
all.
That's right. You just get the
last
one, don't
blurb.
you?
No, I think participants are getting 3. It's the last blurb I had seen somewhere, but don't quote me on that.
I thought they were FUBAR prizes, so you guys should have sets and sets of them.
Oh, we should. I mean, we'll start trading Snafu dice for them wherever we can find them. But
I'm going to watch eBay for your marble dice.
No, I'd keep those, man. Those are super cool looking. I love them.
What's it going to take to make season 2 Snafu? Season 1's Blitzkrieg. Season 2 could be Snafu.
Exactly. We can steal your Snafu dice as prizes then.
I probably have enough stored up that we could probably give them to one to every person in North America right now. So I ordered in bulk. Thank you, Chessex.
Right.
It's the only way to go. I was sick of ordering them.
They are the best dice. So.
Well, and yeah, I was sick of ordering like the bare minimum. Like, so I get 200 dice and then basically they'd all be gone. I'm like, shit, and I got to order more again. I think they were loving me because I was ordering them in 200s and they're like, maybe you should just order 1,000 of them and be done with it, dude. So I have a bag of them in my closet. Anyway, again, thank you.
We should roll all of them at some point.
All of them?
Yeah.
Whatever we have in there, I can make that happen if we ever get together again, but coronavirus is kind of killing the thunder here. Yeah. So second term of that. Anyway, we appreciate it. Thank you. for those that are sticking around for the second half, we're going to cover the D-Day book. Unfortunately, all those tidbits that Paul just told us won't be in that version because we've already pre-recorded it before. Paul told us all the cool stuff, so enjoy it. We'll be back with another episode, or well, enjoy the music. We'll be back. Welcome back. Pat, have you changed the music in the last 3 minutes?
Not yet.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to talk about the Campaign D-Day British and Canadian Sectors book that's about to coming out soonish. I don't think we've got a confirmed date. So if you've listened this far, you are going to hear it first, maybe from us. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else has reviewed this book yet or not.
If all you listen to is us, then you're certainly hearing it from us first.
In which case, we apologize yet again.
No, you just listen to self-suffering at that point. It's okay.
Right, yeah. The first 50 are on us, 51's on you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What is the old saying? Fool me once.
Right.
I just think we're doing our best to, follow along with how 2020 is going. We're doing our part.
Yeah. We're making sure keep 2020 in the gutter. That's my new motto.
Yikes.
Sorry. Yeah. Well. Anyway, we're gonna go through this book, show you some cool stuff. Hopefully. We'll see.
Yeah. Touch on some fun little things we found.
Yeah. So obviously it's not out yet, but when it does, especially if you like Canadians, I love Canadians. They're friendly people. They apologize a lot. And what's that?
How about the title?
Well, isn't it Canadian?
It's Campaign D-Day British and Canadian Sectors.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard Rick say that. Weren't you listening?
I said that right away.
Probably
Pat
not.
doesn't even listen while we're doing it. Jesus.
I have to listen enough during editing.
I know.
He knows how we roll. He's just running off of the assumption of.
He's used to the fact that I probably haven't said the name of the book yet. So this is another campaign book. This one weighs in at like a fairly hefty 192 pages. So there's 192 pages of World War II, which is good. I don't remember what day this starts on. It's not on Day, is it? Or is it starting Day? Or is it D-Day plus something?
No, this is...
No.
Jesus, yeah, this is D-Day.
It's
It wasn't
D-Day.
just the Americans landing on D-Day.
Right.
Oh, I thought this one was... I'm sorry, I thought we already had that book.
No.
Well-
So the D-Day landings, the book that was released was mostly Americans' D-Day.
Got it, okay.
And it followed their push.
Yep.
This
Right.
is
Okay.
the British and Canadian push.
So this is the same day, just the British and Canadians. Got it. That makes more sense.
Well, it's the same operation. It's not just the landings.
I thought the Americans were
goes
the
in.
only ones that landed on D.
Well,
I'm joking.
coming through the American educational system, you'd be forgiven for that.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty sure the U.S. was the only one in this war, right? We were
Right,
fighting ourselves. It was just civil war in Germany.
Oh, Jesus.
No.
So
Okay.
the first book was the Operation Overlord, which was securing the beachheads.
Okay.
I don't recall that book doing much of the push in.
Right.
Whereas this book doesn't have the landing part. It starts with the push in, and it's focusing on the British and Canadian armies, and of course the Germans were there too.
Right.
Okay. Sweet.
So and then they give
we get
some
more.
history. They got some maps at the beginning.
2 good maps.
Table of contents too.
Yeah. No index, but that's fine.
Yeah, whatever. It's a campaign book.
Right.
And they feel like old style maps with unit markings and things like that. The stuff that I'm used to seeing with the old, paper and the little cutout tokens of the unit symbols and stuff like that. It's what it reminded me of. So
Well, these
I
are
actually
lifted
like
directly
that.
from the Osprey books,
Okay.
Okay.
the Osprey campaign books.
All right.
In fact,
'Cause
all the
you're-
maps that they've used are.
Because you were looking for more information on some of the symbols that were used in these.
Yeah, because I've been kind of picked up on some, and then I picked up one of the Osprey books that they published one of these different books on a while back, and it didn't explain it any further, so I'm like, okay, well, that's just maybe a thing. I don't know what this difference between the box, with the oval in the box versus the X in the box.
Or the
I mean,
little
I can
bird
recognize,
under
like,
the
the-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those typically, and I'm going off of my sense of what it was when I was really into that kind of thing. I think some things were like sometimes it would denote an infantry formation or mobilized or those kinds of things. Typically, I don't know what these ones mean in particular though. So
Right. I'm assuming that's what that means too, but it'd be nice to know which one was which.
yeah,
It's
we need
funny.
a key for these maps sometimes.
Yeah, it's funny. We complain about not having maps in campaigns. We get maps in campaigns, and now we're like, no, we need a key.
I would like to know what the map is telling me.
I mean, it's.
I can see this. I know what the arrows. I understand the arrows are like direction, and the
Move
dotted line are
stuff,
fronts. And then there's the names, which are probably cities, villages that they went through.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. All that stuff is accurate.
But the boxes with the numbers on them, I have not fully versed.
Well, I can I'm 99% sure the box with the X is an infantry unit.
That would make
Division.
sense.
And I think the circle one is armored, but I'm not positive. That might be mechanized.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there's a distinction on that.
What do you think the seagull ones are? Would those be paratroopers? Would those be?
Where am I seeing the seagulls?
You mean the
at?
X with the seagulls?
Yeah. So it's an X with a little like bird underneath on the bottom quadrant.
Yeah. So on the far east flank,
Yeah.
you see that.
So
Yeah, best guess that's a paratrooper, but I'm not positive.
because it looks like they landed on the other side of the river.
yeah, it kind
I
of makes
bet
sense.
that
to me.
is paratroopers.
It would make sense.
Yep.
It kind of fits the infantry, that flying infantry thing. But okay, cool. So we've answered our own questions, Pat. We've made our own key, and by golly, if we're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. We're right now.
But the number of X's above the boxes, and just why the boxes are bigger? Is that the units are bigger?
yes,
there's more space
Yes,
to put
they
it.
measured. Yes, they measured.
Well, they're on the hills, so they're closer to the person drawing the map up above.
The guy in a blimp is drawing the map.
This is actually a real life picture. It's not actually a drawing. they actually just had giant tarps.
Right. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, and why some have 3 X's and then have 3 X's next to them again? God knows, Pat.
Number of platoons, divisions. I'm speculating too.
We can definitely. Maybe we should get somebody from Osprey on here. Maybe we'll get the author of this said here map if we can find a attribution, but I don't think we can.
Campaign 143. I think I have that book.
Oh, there you go. Well, we'll look up who drew it, and you can email them and ask them. Anyway, so some brief history, and we can bust right into scenarios like we've done in other books where they'll give a piece of the history, and then they'll bust into a scenario related to it. Right? That's kind of what I'm seeing here, is that they'll do that again.
Yep. They're all very narrative scenarios with lots of wordy setups and special build rules that use this list but don't use these units from that list, or use this list at the end of the book without these units in that list.
Right.
Set 3 guys here, 4 guys there, and roll dice.
Make sure Donald ducks at the crossroads with a machine gun. Yeah.
Well, so what you're saying is these are not tournament play scenarios, which makes sense. This is a story, right? You're trying to make the story or the narrative, so it makes perfect sense for a campaign book to be like that.
Yep.
The first 3 scenarios, the definition of crowded table is redefined.
Right. The woods one is like I think that one would be fun. I'm not going to lie. The deployment zone for the Canadian-German deployment areas, I don't know which scenario. Scenario 2.
Yeah.
The woods where you basically are right on top of each other if you want to be.
Can be, yeah. Yep.
But it's the entire table is woods with a road in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a shit show, to say the least.
Yeah, and everything's like in lighter hardcover, and everything's rough ground.
Yep. Kind of like a lot of those old...
Visibility is 18 inches.
Dude.
Although HE is more effective. You add 1 more wound for HE template.
Right.
No. Why is that?
Splintering the trees.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yep.
Shrapnel
Trees
from the
blow
trees.
up and will add to the impact.
Cool.
So yeah, they're both rough ground, soft cover everywhere, and no airstrikes because you can't see anybody.
Can't see shit. Yeah.
GG wheeled vehicles. Jeez.
Right. Yeah. They drive just the road.
Just the road.
Essentially, yeah.
Well, until something blows up on the road and you're playing that those are wrecks instead of removed.
Yeah.
Right. The picture down below looks about what I would expect the table to look like.
Yeah.
Nothing but trees everywhere and some stuff.
I definitely think this is one of those ones where you're going to want to abstract to the forests if you want to
play
this.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to build that table.
Yeah.
I would love to see someone build it. It'd be super sweet. If someone's got a shit ton of trees, it's not that hard. But yeah, I mean, essentially there's a road and the rest of it is all woods.
Yeah, this is one of those ones we always talk about between realism and playability. And
sure.
Yeah, it's the table you walk by in a museum and you look down and you're like, oh, that's so cool, but would be just trash to play on probably.
Yeah, fair point.
You'd be losing your order dice all the time.
Yeah.
You'd be losing units.
Right? I thought this unit had 8 guys. Why can I only find 4? Oh, here he is. Someone knocked a tree over on the rest of them.
All right, tournament's over. Pick the table up and shake it so all the guys fall
right.
out.
We get like an army's worth of dudes out of that if we had a tournament table like that. I think that's a good idea, though.
It's a good way to start collecting multiple armies, right?
Yeah, like all of the armies.
All already painted.
Next year's door prize, everybody gets an army.
Yeah, just
infantry
make sure
last tournament.
Only the players that have the nicest painted armies get to play on the table. You know?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like the golf ball at the end of the miniature putt. It's like
it just goes in the hole and it's gone.
Yep.
Actually, I remember an old Warhammer table that had that on it. At one of our tournaments we used to go to, there was a spot in the corner that was like just a pit, and the pit fed out into the river underneath. Like it was this giant, like
that's right,
8 inches of foam, right? Like it was a really cool table, but if you dropped a dice in there, it was gone. I'm pretty sure that he would like tip it over at the end and have like a dozen dice by the end of the weekend. It was super funny. But,
I remember that table.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I lost some dice.
I lost a dice on that table.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone's lost a dice on that table.
It was a rite of passage, I thought, like wishing well.
Yes,
I don't remember that table.
It was
like a 2 tables in 1 sort of thing.
Yeah, it had a troll sitting by it under the, like there was like a river. I don't know how to describe it other than
it was a Wapaka.
It was a Wapaka table.
Was it the one going into the Dwarven hold?
I don't think it was.
Okay, all right.
Dude, that is a record for the longest time without a tangent.
Well, there's got to be this. This is an important tangent.
It is.
Because this is an important table construction tangent.
Right.
Try not to make Sarlacc pits in your table.
Or do, because then you get a bunch of dice for free.
Or do, because you get a bunch of dice.
Or miniatures.
Or gum wrappers. I mean, it's probably a wide gamut of stuff, especially at that tournament.
You're right. God knows what you'd find in that.
Probably worse than gum wrappers.
Glory hole.
Yeah, kind of was. So anyway, the diagram, don't put as many trees as the diagram has on it, because that would be insane. But, have fun with it.
This is a good one to delineate the road.
Yes.
And then just put a couple trees scattered around so you can play and just be like, anything that's not road is dense forest.
Right. And then you basically have, because you're always in cover, you're always in rough ground, it makes it easier, so you're not fighting over, all my guys are hiding behind this one tree. What do you mean by that? That's insane. Anyway. Okay, that's a cool one. I like that. I liked how that one looked. So
I also liked Scenario 3.
Scenario 3. I'm
so,
trying to get to
okay.
Yes.
Sorry. The photograph was Scenario 3. I like that better. That, I would really like to do a table that looked like that.
It's a lot of buildings, but
that is a
cool.
shit ton of buildings.
Well, didn't Jesse have all those buildings?
Well, he's got a lot, but I don't know if he's got that many. That's what would that be? We're looking 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 6 of those Sarissa city sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
that looks super cool.
It's 15. It's like 30 buildings there, guys.
Would you really want to play on this table though?
No.
Look at it.
No, I wouldn't want to play on it. No, but it looks cool.
That's how it looks cool.
Yeah. Well, you can have a cool looking table that's fun to play on.
Right. I mean, you can.
Buildings.
So if you're at that picture on 22 there, just that kind of intersection I'd like to see on a table. The rest of the table doesn't have to be like that, but I think that's really wicked looking.
And I think what Gail does with some of his tables, where the buildings are on the edges, makes it a lot more sense. Whereas the one like that diagram is like all of the fighting will happen in the middle.
Yeah, the diagram is. Again, I said it's the picture that makes that scenario.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to say that table looks cool, but one Nebelwerfer is going to make that just unbearable.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I target that building.
Like, oh, God.
And all the rest of it in 6 inches. Okay, well, you're bound to blow up a building.
All of buildings. Just nuclear holocaust there. Wow. Yeah, no, that wouldn't be good. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I like that picture a lot. These pictures look great. They're hunting a wounded tiger in a shattered French town. Ooh.
That never happened.
Depends on what movie you watch.
Yeah, meow.
Right.
Dude, I do like the variance in the number of scenarios and what they're doing here. Like, because the next one is foxholes or craters. I don't know if they're foxholes or craters.
Oh, the objectives one where they're going for the radar towers?
Yeah. I mean, I like it. Other than I think they're running, they're going to be bum rushing. Are those machine gun placements?
Yeah, they're defensive positions.
Yeah.
And it's craters is what the British table is crossing, or the British side of the table is crossing the open fields.
Sure.
Well, not open field, but
right.
So
they're going from crater to crater essentially, as best they can.
Mm-hmm.
Germans get to spend their points on fortification in that scenario.
Sweet.
So fortifications are becoming more common to be included in your unit or in your force.
See?
I mean, they're pretty important to scenario play.
Right. All for sure.
Yes.
And,
absolutely.
this whole operation is certainly there's a clear attacker, clear defender, and the defender was entrenched and built in. And and so I would expect that to be reflected, pretty significantly in or in most of these.
I think at least 3 or 4 of them are tank wars scenarios or armor platoons.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's quite a bit of the information in here that I maybe didn't appreciate as much, but there's apparently some pretty good historical record down to this many Tiger tanks were on the field, and this one was taken out by a Firefly. This one was taken out by a rear shot from a Cromwell. And so it's kind of interesting to really, kind of dig into that a little bit and see how, they were really kind of keeping track of all of that stuff. And I don't know that I really appreciated that from a historical perspective. It was a big deal facing a tiger and then actually taking out the tiger. So,
I would think so.
Yeah, I was going to say, I recently saw a Facebook post of someone posting like the stats of a tiger and how many rounds it shook off, and you're like, damn, that's pretty significant amount of firepower that just went at it and it just didn't give two shits. So, I mean,
I'm sure it was rather loud on the inside, but if that's the worst that you have from being hit by a round,
those dudes had to be deaf as anyway, right?
What?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're driving around in a giant tin can with an engine inside it. I can't imagine it's not loud in there.
Yeah, it's pretty loud in there.
I'd imagine. That's cool. Let's keep moving. So, scenario 5, it looks like it has a unit attached to it.
Yeah, a little sneaky gem in there.
Yeah, right? Okay.
The Air Tactical Intelligence Team.
Sweet.
I think this is a British unit.
Yep.
And let's see, so it's intended specifically for this scenario. However, with prior permission from your opponent, you can use it in a reinforced platoon. Aww. So, first of all, not allowed at Operation Snafu when we have it next year. But it is a 3-man unit for 30 points at regular, 21 inexperienced. Everyone with rifles, or you can upgrade SMGs. The NCO has a pistol, the rest of the guys have rifles. Yeah. And you can NCO 2 points go to SMG, and the rest of them go to SMGs for 3 points.
So it's a 3-man team.
It's a 30-point order dice.
Yes.
It's a 30-point infantry team that can claim objectives.
Yes.
And it's not a small team, so it can't be sniped off. And it counts as an infantry selection, which means if it was in the reinforced platoon, it's the cheapest reinforced, or the cheapest quote-unquote tax that you would have to pay for your 2 mandatory reinforced.
Oh, God, I can't imagine the grossness that would come out of that.
Never happens.
I mean, if you were really looking at it from that perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it's a cheap way to get order dice.
Yeah.
Without anything
I like
else
infantry
special.
well, so.
Yeah, without anything else special.
I mean, they're still just regular dudes. You could take 3 of these instead of a 10-man squad essentially, and get 3 dice to the one that you would have gotten. It would be busted if it was just allowed for, if you were allowed indefinite number of these.
Yes, because then your whole platoon is these guys, and you got almost 5 free order dice.
Right. And you're like, I've got 43 dice. What?
Well, and so they're British selector, and so with the MCO being armed with a pistol, they're not even getting an extra shot with rapid fire out of it.
Well, then you just give them all SMGs.
Right, and then you're 38 points for 3 guys with SMGs.
Yeah, but what's the up and atom or the assault one? Because that'd be a pain in the ass. It's 3 tough fighters.
Right. Good point,
yeah.
actually.
Up and atom is the one where they don't have to pass the order check to charge.
Yeah, that would suck.
Or tough as boots, where they'd get an extra attack. Plus, they'd all be tough fighter with SMGs.
That would also suck.
Yeah, you would still bleed dice in a dice scenario, but
absolutely. But
you got to take the good with the bad, right? Anyway, it's an interesting little nugget in the middle of here. This is just an odd place, but it's because it's only related to this one scenario.
It throws me off because for whatever reason they put the 6-pound anti-tank gun picture underneath it, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. But
maybe that was the only model they had around that was only 3 guys.
Find us a picture with 3 guys.
Except I'm almost positive the 6-pound anti-tank gun's a 4-man crew, but whatever.
6-pounder is a 4-man,
yeah. Actually, if you look there, you can see the little slot where the guy's supposed to go, and he's not there.
Yeah, they
circle.
He died.
He died already.
There's no pin markers. They must have cleared the pins too. But
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, picture of a what the heck rocket is this thing called?
V2.
It's a V2.
The doodle bug.
V1 or V2.
Yeah, V1.
Yeah. So obviously some cool stuff.
Well, that late in the war might have been a V2.
This
scenario was a raid.
V2 looks more like a traditional.
I was going to say the previous image attributes it to a V1 doodle bug.
Well, yeah, I mean the scenario is a raid on a V1 weapon emplacement, so which is why you see it.
So definitely not a V2 then.
Well, you've got a 6-pounder representing an ATI team, so
that's true. This would be a fun table to build, though. Have a couple of V1 launchers on it.
Sure. Mix some V1 V launchers, V1 or V2.
That could be a substitute for the artillery board at some point. You could fire a V1 rocket on someone's table.
If we ever
That
do
sounds
a
like
D-Day,
fun.
if we do a D-Day one, we could do that.
Yeah.
That's too spot on.
It has to be sillier than that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't care.
I don't know. Okay, anyway.
Okay.
So that's that scenario.
Another great map of all the same things we didn't understand before, but now they've moved.
And they're brown. Like, everything's brown on this one. Everything else is green on the first one.
All right, this map is about to push around Khan, so...
Yeah, I'm almost positive those rectangles with circles in them are armored units.
That would make sense, because the Germans look like they have
A lot of
a metric ton of tanks coming. Yeah. Coming in. They're probably trying to reinforce their losses here.
Yep.
By a lot.
Spoiler alert, they didn't do it.
Yeah, the 12 SS at the top there is not doing so hot. He looks like he's in a bad spot pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting. It gives you two fronts in this one, too. So it gives you the front as of the 24th of June and 30th of June. They made some good ground in those 6 days.
Yep.
Sweet.
Good push.
Yeah.
Go Canadians, eh?
Yeah. Operation Epsom, Scenario 6. Just a bunch of farm. This one is our least favorite. I would be my least favorite diagram so far. Not very exciting placement there.
It looks like a pretty standard bolt action
Yeah,
table,
it
though,
does.
frankly.
Yeah, probably more so than others.
And likely to be a table that almost anyone who's put together a World War II battlefield to play on could recreate. So
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point. The rest of
some
them are
fields,
like...
a couple of trees, and some farm buildings. We're all familiar with that one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
It's
Very good
boxed
point,
up.
Dale.
Yep.
The other ones, every other one we've seen so far, is like you'd have to have a
You spent
lot of
4
terrain.
months building terrain before you...
All right, so there's that one. Let's go to the
they
next one.
They do a lot of changing the visibility stuff in these.
That's okay.
That's-
Just read the scenario. Like if you're gonna read, if you're gonna
Flavorful.
play these, read the scenario.
There's Operation Windsor, which is... I could actually build this board.
Right?
I stepped on my spotlight, though, so...
Aw.
What were you? Why were you walking?
You
in
dancing
your
on your table again?
Yeah. What the hell?
Playing
We've
Godzilla.
talked about this.
It fell on the floor, and I
Playing
didn't see it
Godzilla
until it was
again.
too late.
I mean, yeah, this is pretty much. You think you have this table already?
Yeah, I do.
Just need some Canadians, eh?
Right?
Butt-ass open table, too.
Yeah, right. The
Yeah.
Canadian side is kind of hose town. Just
Well, and again, I think that's kind of how it went. They get more forces for this one, though, don't they?
let's look. No. And the Germans also receive a free Termstellung. I don't know what that is. It's a dude in an iron lung.
Aquaman? What?
Aquaman?
Missing this.
Did you sneak a niner in there? The last word on the page.
Oh,
Termstellung.
Trumstellung?
Yes.
Jesus
Sure.
Christ.
We'll get to that.
Hi,
later,
everybody
I
in
imagine.
Germany. We're sorry.
Right? It's a turret-mounted MMG. Oh, it's a tank.
Okay.
It's a tank. Whoa, it's cheap as shit. It's 32 points with a 7 light tank with an MMG.
Yeah,
Why is it under tanks?
So it's a bunker with a defensive gun in it.
Oh, okay, but it counts as a tank for the purposes of generic reinforced platoon selector. So you can take
No,
this.
imagine a turret on a concrete block that moves around, a tank turret. So
Oh,
Experience.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
sure. It's like a buried tank.
yeah, it's like it's
Essentially.
a tank turret as a bunker. So
Sure. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading the rules. They put it under tanks. So for the purposes of reinforced platoon, apparently
It's a tank
you're
slot.
It's your tank slot for 32 points, and it comes with a turret-mounted MMG. But probably, it's not even that hard to kill. All right. Anyway, moving along, going back to where we were, you just get a free MMG, armored MMG.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah, right. Shit, I've lost my spot.
It's all right.
That's why you guys are here.
We're not going to tell you where we were, though.
Nope.
Hold on. Oh, I found it. Ha ha.
Yeah. They got
All
a
right.
special character in this one, too.
Ooh, let's talk.
Lieutenant Colonel Lockhart Ross Fulton, CMDSOED.
Dear God. Not to make fun of him, but he's got a lot of names, and he sounds badass. With,
Those are titles.
well, Colonel Lockhart Ross Fulton?
Yeah.
Lieutenant
Those are
Colonel.
not, yeah, Lieutenant Colonel.
Well, the CMDSOED.
Yeah, I assumed those were all titles.
MOUSE.
Either that or his parents hated it. Jesus.
Right? They just call him Ed.
It's just like Elon Musk type shit there.
He's a colonel, 205 points regular. You can add up to 2 other guys with him for 10 points each.
Yep.
Pistol, submachine gun, however depicted. And there's a nice little Fury special rules that we'll get to later. But he's dogged. He hates the SS, and he's lucky. So he ignores the first time when he's become a casualty, and he takes any applicable pin markers but is not removed from the game. Unflappable leadership. All units activated by Major Fulton use the human snap action rule may ignore the effects of pins. Of one pin.
One
pin.
That's pretty sweet.
That's pretty awesome.
I like that rule.
How many?
I think that hate SS means he's like counts as fanatic against them.
That would make sense too.
Yep.
That's the name of the rule too, by the way.
Do I like the cheese things? Yeah, I like the cheese things. So let's see. That's dude and 2 SMG guys with SMGs. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it counts as a major, so he can snap a lot to action.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like the rule. The only thing about it is it's kind of easy to play around as the opponent. You just don't spread your pins around, and he's automatically less effective is all. So
he's dogged, which is another interesting rule, which gives all regular and veteran Canadian infantry units may upgrade to stubborn for 1 point a man.
Yep.
Jesus.
So you can make your entire army stubborn with him.
And inexperienced can be green.
Green for 1.
Yep.
That's the dogged rule.
Right, that's the dogged rule.
Canadian, when we get to them, they kind of come with that, and so because he's part of that, he gets the dogged rule, same as he hates the SS. So
right, okay,
yep.
That's still really good. I mean, if you're taking this guy makes your opponent just focus fire single units, that's also a boon to you then.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So, I mean, I don't know how many points a normal colonel is.
Major. He counts as a major.
Counts as major.
Major.
Mm-hmm.
How much is a major normally?
I don't know.
I want to say 200, but
I think that's right. It's 180 or something.
Right now.
We don't have Easy Army open because we're all fools.
Sorry.
Regular major is normally 150 points.
So for 55 points.
Okay.
Those are pretty good rules for 55 points.
Yeah, I would say
the not dying part is kind of nice.
Yeah, this free not dying part.
That sort of makes him like worth 300 right there because he's worth 2.
Right.
Yeah.
And ignoring pins. Everyone ignoring pins during snap to actions is pretty.
A pin. Is
a pin. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Still, 1 pin. Can't complain.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the difference.
Apparently gets fanatic against the SS. So in these scenarios where you're going to be seeing a lot of SS, that's great.
Right. It may not come up very often. Yes. Everything else would come up. Like Dogged is still good. So anyway.
Yep.
I like him. He's
cool.
A lot of points. He's he ain't cheap.
Yeah, you have to be ready to play with a major. So
right.
Yep.
We got another map with looks like all the black boxes are getting fewer and closer together.
They're on the other side of the river now too.
Yeah.
I was going to say what's the purple box, but then it tells you what the purple box is. It's the only box that tells you what it is.
They've been bombing the crap there.
Yeah, so this has to do with the bloody con with the carpet bombing and stuff like that. So the last few scenarios have been about the push around through con. So
there's a lot less. It feels like there's a lot less troops here. Like a lot less British.
Well, it's closer
sets.
in.
Yeah, it's zoomed in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an inset. So
got it. Okay.
Of the larger conflict.
See. Okay.
Yep.
Another cool ass picture with lots of bricks, lots of dead bricks.
Dead bricks.
Yes. Well, I mean, inherently they are.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like aquarium. It looks like some aquarium gravel in there too. Actually, It's actually kind of an effective tool. I would never have guessed that, but it's like some red and black aquarium rock in there.
Where are you?
Page 42.
Yep.
Okay.
That's cool, but you think that's glued down, or you think that's sprinkled in?
You would have to glue it down.
Right.
Although, for the purposes of a picture, maybe they didn't, but I have no idea.
I've seen it done both ways, actually.
Yeah.
So.
I have actually seen some of the coolest tables I've ever seen have loose stuff on them. I've shocked when I've touched them when you're like, whoa, why is this loose? But it actually is effective. So like when they set up their table, they'll like put the terrain down and then they'll actually sprinkle dirt or like, gravel on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
And just leave it there and then they'll scoop it up when it's done, which I think is
a lot of work, but it looks cool.
Yeah. I mean,
I want to throw a shout out to whoever did this Bob Ross on the corner of the building here. That's
that's good.
That's really good at that scale.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Probably printed, maybe not. If someone really painted that, that's pretty bad.
I think that'd actually be easier to paint myself than it would be to print. I mean, look at how
tiny that is.
tiny that is.
I don't know.
I mean, it's smaller than a miniature.
That's
a
pretty
great
cool.
touch.
That's fun. That is a great touch.
Yeah, I really like that.
I did not catch that the first time.
I didn't either. Good call, Jeff.
Scenario 8. So there's a total of like 13 scenarios, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a fair number of scenarios in here. Some cool stuff. Operation Charnwood.
Fewer than we've seen in the past, but
Yeah.
it does follow what we've seen in the past, where they kind of walk you through, the operations, and this scenario represents this conflict, and they present it to you, and you play, and then in the aftermath of the scenario, they kind of detail what happened historically, and then so you can kind of play through what happened. So
they tell you what happened in case that wasn't your exact result when you played.
right. So
Like you're not as good as the real thing.
Like, hey, the Germans survived. You're a much better player than the Germans were that particular day.
Yeah, apparently.
Jeez.
Or dark. They were SS here, weren't they?
there's quite a bit of SS.
Quite a bit of SS,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was just saying that.
Quite a bit of everything, but yeah, there's a fair number of SS mixed in.
Scenario 8 is Operation Charnwood. Not even fighting, although it's only a 10% difference. All right. Looks like bombed out city again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Heavily. You take that other board that had all the buildings and you just take them all off and put rubble.
just
Right, there you
you
go.
just smash them Gallagher
recycle.
style. Yeah.
Set them on fire.
Set them on fire.
That's not like a one-use only sort of thing.
Yeah, and you can only play with metal models.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah,
Plastic-
and
plastic.
you definitely have a timed game there.
Playing extreme bolt action where the tables are actually on fire in places while you're playing.
Wow.
Just little sterno cans. Sounds like a liability waiting to happen.
Is this,
Yes.
we're on scenario 8, right? No, scenario 9, next one.
Yeah, we're just skipping right along here.
So there's an interesting rule on scenario 9. It's called playing dead.
Oh, it's Hunter. Okay.
For every German infantry killed, the German player rolls a single dice. On a 6, that soldier is playing dead, is left in the battlefield, place him on his side. Immediately before turn 6 begins, all these models may fire once and then are removed from play.
Dude.
It's kind of like,
Whoa,
Okay.
whoa.
Well-
Hold on a second.
this one, I mean, now this is the first scenario that's dealing with Hill 112, which I've seen documentaries about. So I mean, it's kind of an important thing that was happening there. So
that rule just kind of like, that's clever. That's a clever way to make that rule.
Sure. It's interesting. So you just basically get one more shot with all those guys after they die.
Yeah.
Or wait, only on the 6.
Only on a 6.
Okay, that's better. I was going to say, that's an
Yeah.
awful lot of pins you're throwing out all of a sudden.
Right.
No, it's just anything that had a 6. They're just left there, and at the beginning of turn 6, they all get the fire. Whether they're still in position or not, who knows? I mean, I presume they'll be. Or is this an objective one at all? So the objective is to move into the German defense zone. So yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't say that they cause pins, so I don't know that they necessarily do.
Why would they not?
Why would they not?
I mean, not every time you see someone say fire a gun, does it say they give a pin?
Because you're not activating a dice, and you're not keeping track of which guys are alive but belong to units. So if there's 10 guys there, is that a possibility to put out 10 pins? I mean,
that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah,
right.
but you're going to have...
You would have to get 10 sixes to have that happen.
Yeah, you've had to roll like a Banshee to have that happen anyway.
Or you've had your forced slaughtered.
Or both. I
mean,
well,
for every infantryman killed, you roll a single die, right? So if you've lost 30 guys, that's going to be... Okay, so...
On average.
That could be a lot of pins. Yeah. You could pin out a unit depending upon what else is going on turn 6.
They still have to roll
it's just one of those... Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, it really doesn't go into... I haven't been able to find it. If it goes into, do you count for cover or range or anything like that?
So all it says is the models fire once. I would presume it'd be a normal fire.
Right. I would assume
every single model.
Yeah, I'm with Pat. I think you fire as normal with range and modifiers.
I'm sorry. You leave them on the battlefield. I'm sorry. I thought you just put them to the side and they fire.
No.
Oh, it's placed on its side.
They just lay it down on the side. On their
side.
Sorry,
not placed on the side. Placed on its side.
That'd be a very different. So it's just a single model. Wherever they die, and then you get a shot with them before turn 6.
Yeah.
Which I think it's not.
I think that's a great roll.
I think it's a great roll when you look at it.
That's why I wanted to stop at it.
I think it sounds like fun in this scenario.
Yeah. I don't know that I would.
Sounds like fun at Operation Snafu. It's like an upgrade that you can earn to your army. Last gasp or something.
2 points per unit can have playing dead applied to the unit.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Anyways, that's cool. I like that.
Okay.
And of course, there's a nice picture of a bunch of Churchills.
Yeah.
Blood. I'd like to figure out how to do that kind of trenching that they have in that picture.
The drainage ditch.
Yeah.
It's foam. You just got to have foam.
Yeah, you got to have foam. You start with a foam board. That whole thing's on a foam, and then
that's what I'm thinking.
Like Jeff's sub base, he built up the foam, and that allowed him to have sunken area. So
that sounds like a lot of work.
It is. It looks
really cool.
Actually, I think you could probably do that. Just take you have the flat piece of foam, and then you just take hell, you could probably do that with a melon baller and just drag it the length of that trench you want.
Yep.
And then take a blowtorch and just hit it lightly to melt it a little bit to give it some better form.
Well, don't you have a wire? Don't you have a cutter, Pat?
Foam cutter?
Well, you wouldn't want to cutter that. You scoop that and then flame it.
I was just saying, mine has I think I have one that allows me to make a V. Right, it's like I have a sculptable end on it, so I don't have to.
Oh, okay.
It's not a straight line per se.
I didn't know such a thing existed.
Yeah, they're kind of cool.
Wow, Rick's got fancier foam cutting tools.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I looked at one. I don't know if I bought it. I think I bought it.
Oh.
I don't know when I last used it. So
I'm always curious about these kind of boards when I'm looking at this, though. Too, is that this doesn't look like it's a board that wants to be transported very often.
No,
right.
It's what I did with my board. So
yeah,
and you're right. It doesn't want to be transported very often.
More than once a year.
I think these kind of boards look amazing. They look like the one you should have set up in your basement, and that's like your board.
Yeah.
Right, but trying to take something imagine taking 15 of these to any tournament.
You can't. It's just not.
You can't.
It would be a great tournament to go to, though.
It would be a wonderful tournament, but it'd be a pain in the ass for the organizers, and you spend the rest of the year doing repairs on your boards.
Yeah,
and it's not to say you don't anyway, kind of.
Well, kind of, but I don't have to do a lot to my boards.
Right, they're pretty durable. I mean.
Or they're designed that way too.
Right. That's kind of the idea, is that that you're building them so they are transportable because they're going to be moved around.
Yeah. So build for transport and durability.
And then page 51 has Jeff's favorite unit on it.
Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous.
No, this one isn't on a vehicle.
Yes.
Well, I mean, his favorite is having 3 of them in a list. Yes, for sure.
But it's got the right number of crew.
4. Yeah. 4? What? 4? 7?
There's a Nebelwerfer there, so
I'm not going to lie though. Those games when we were prepping for WTC and I was playing that Veteran 88, that really turned me on to the Veteran 88.
Oh, it's like a unit with a gun. It's incredible.
Well, yeah,
That's exactly like a unit with a gun.
I mean, like an entire platoon's worth of dudes. It's like, how many guys are in there? 8? 7?
8. Yeah, it's 8.
A shit ton of guys, shit ton of crew.
88 has 8 guys. I figure the magic in that one.
A ton of veteran guys with a gun shield and a big ass gun.
Yeah, pretty hard to shake that thing.
You have to dedicate a lot to take it out.
Yeah,
it stood up to it too. I recall.
Isn't it almost 200 points though?
Yeah.
It's
like 175 or 185.
How many?
And
3-inch HE or 4-inch
3-inch HE. Yeah.
Okay.
And we were playing on some kind of crowded boards too. So I mean, it wasn't like completely wide open, But Jeff's a great player, so he was playing it smart. But yeah, I wasn't sold on it, but yeah, it was something. So
I wasn't sold on it when I put it in the list, but boy, it can take a real beating and not be hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say that about
veteran.
Yeah.
7 guys. It is 7 guys. Look at that.
Yeah, I thought so, 7, but still, 7's a lot.
7
it is a lot, and it's got a rotating platform. So I mean, that's.
Although I will say the mechanics start to get in the way on that because the mechanics are like have to everybody within 2 inches of the breach.
Right.
When you get 7 guys, that starts getting kind of ridiculous.
Like half of the guys are standing in front of the gun.
Well, it looks like some kind of cult meeting. They're all in a circle around the gun,
doing a
swaying back and forth.
Work,
damn it!
You got to get some of those old Mordheim guys, like in the cultist guys. They're holding candles and shit around it.
Oh, that's funny.
Ugh.
All right, let's look at the next one. The next one's scenario 10's a tank one. It looks like, right?
It is.
Ooh,
that one actually looks kind of fun.
Sherman platoon or a Cromwell platoon? You get a choice.
I have these models.
Yeah. Okay. What is the?
I even have 2 Fireflies. So
we need Panthers and Panzers or Stugs for the. Yeah, all right.
We got a mix of those. Yeah.
I think we can make that happen. Oh, you get a lot of choices on the German side. You can either do Panzers, Panzers with Stugs, Tigers, just Tigers. You got lots of choices, but you have to have. There's not much mixing and matching.
You're going to skip over the fact you got to have a Tiger 2 Zug.
Yeah. No,
Jesus.
sorry.
4 King Tigers. That's
how do you determine points in this thing?
German player builds on the agreed upon points. They are even.
Yeah, so whatever you have.
So the British player will get what?
The Allied
3 Shermans, and you'll get 1 Tiger 2.
And the Allied player gets a free regular Sherman V or Cromwell.
Oh, of course.
Well, you got to have the good guys win, man. Come on.
Right, every time. Nobody wants to ever play the Germans. I wonder why.
Okay, so assuming we played veteran Tiger 2s and the Germans set their list, that'd be 4 times 666. What is that? That's a lot.
That's a big number.
2,400.
It's over 2,400.
Yeah.
For 4 order dice.
For 4 order dice, and then
2664.
And this has the good rules for the bokages that I like.
The problem is you can't have that many because the Shermans don't cost that much.
Shermans are roughly half the cost.
You can take another
third
platoon. I don't care. I've got 4 Tiger 2s. He can take as many goddamn Sherman platoons as he wants.
All you have to do is take out the Fireflies.
Right.
The Germans get an inexperienced 88 as well. So I mean,
okay, all right, it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing. All right, let's talk about rules. We like bocage.
What do you like about it?
All right, so they got the bocage. So it's they block line of sight unless you're in base contact with it. They're hard cover because they're obviously built up in earth. And then whenever a track field tries to go through it on a 1 or 2, it gets stuck. Vehicles with damage value 10 or more get a +1 to the roll. And if you equip the Cullen hedgerow cutters, then you just go through on advance. On a run order, you have to roll, but you get a +1. Those are some solid rules for bokages.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, Tigers are fine; they don't care. And if the Shermans,
they still have to roll, but they're only get hung up on a 1.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, what happens if they get hung up? What does it say?
They stop their move there.
They just stop. Okay.
They stand their
move. It's not like they're not immobilized or some crazy shit like that.
They stand their move, and then they'll have to try it again next turn.
Yep. Okay.
So I like that. That's pretty sweet.
I'm down with that. That's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it blocks line of sight, so you have to be careful with where you're putting your bocage. But
I think you always have to be careful where you're putting your bocage.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to put your bocage in crazy because that That never goes well.
It's never good.
Wow. Okay. First penis reference.
And it was me. That's really unusual.
Yeah. Right.
It is.
Okay. Anyway.
And it looks like for the scenario setup, you've got bocage running down the middle of the table halfway. So I mean,
which is nice because it gives you a chance to have, because it's line of sight blocking.
Yep.
Although I guess you could be on the bocage at the beginning of the game too.
Looks like this one's also got a bad fighter bomber attack. And special rules, next page.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's the -1 on it?
Yeah, -1 on your roll.
Typhoon bombers?
Yeah. Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, and I think because they lost their air observer, so you can call it in if you want to, but now instead of a 1 in 6 chance of it coming back, it's 1 in 3.
Yeah, that's not good.
I'm not calling that one in.
No, and the German player's got a free 88 to shoot at it at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, that's not so good.
Seems flavorful though.
So when you're used to seeing scenarios be put together on 2 pages, these are averaging 4 or more.
Yeah.
To really tailor what went on.
Yeah. Oh, now we have different arrows in the next map.
Yeah. And now all the British forces have turned blue. Oh, those are U.S.
I was going to say, at least some of these have to be U.S.
That's
just judging by where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like they're U.S. and Brit.
How are you? Okay.
Well, they say it next to them.
Yeah,
it does.
Really small.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 1, 2.
You're getting used to these maps.
I did not see that. Sweet.
And I can follow the arrows, and then the Germans got a big red circle around them, and are apparently supposed to move to somewhere.
Right. So this is an allied and an Axis, essentially. Blue being allied and
right.
The German Axis forces being the red designation.
It's just interesting that it's switching from one color to the next. It's not really criticism as much as just a
comment.
It's kind of a bizarre choice. I don't know. They do what they want.
It's setting up the fille's pocket.
Fille's pocket.
Yes.
Which is not a sandwich. Although it kind of was a sandwich, but it's not one you'd want to eat.
It's not one you want to find yourself in either.
You're correct.
Fair. All right.
And then, Dale, here's your Hill 122 scenario.
Yeah, so Hill 122...
This sounds like a fun scenario.
Was strategically valuable because of the artillery that could be set up on top of it, and then it gave you a distinct advantage. So, which is why they were definitely trying to get to it. It's pretty standard stuff as far as hills go.
Restrictions make me sad for the German player.
Yeah, you can use this without any of these.
What?
Oh.
No SS, no Luftwaffe. Your armored cars are limited to 0-1 motorcycle with machine gun sidecar.
Yeah, they got the picture of the Kettenkrad there.
Yeah.
Kettenkrad. Still a sweet looking model, I tell you.
It is.
Well, and then even below that, I think it tells you even more crazy stuff like
no veterans.
Yeah.
Exception to medics, no veterans. Grenadier squads are limited to max of 2 Panzerfaust each.
If they're it doesn't matter the size; they are limited to 2. Because we need to hamper them even further.
No, it's historical,
right? Yep.
Although the Canadian player also gets a 15% point advantage as well, mind you.
Well, he's running across just a slaughterhouse.
If you're going to say if you make this table accurate, it's a lot of open ground.
Sure.
So there's the bocage rows on either side of the road, and then they're on the hill, so they're obviously seeing over the bocages. So,
right.
Have a nice day.
Until you get to that road.
It's going to be runs to get to cover, that's for sure.
Yeah, right.
And of course, they got the down assault rules in this one.
Right, because they waited. Right, otherwise they would have had dismounted and rushed the hill in broad daylight over open ground. And
I'm not a general, but that sounds tactically unsound.
It was a sunrise dawn attack, effectively. Actually, it was like an hour before sunrise when everything kicked off. So.
And then, caught off guard, German players cannot forward deploy any of their observers.
Okay. Now, what's interesting about this particular operation was that they waited until the last possible moment to dismount from their vehicles. So that goes into the Germans being caught off guard. So I think they actually dismounted, the infantry dismounted on the objective, so, and then stormed the positions held by the Germans. So
that's nuts, but it looks like it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's scenario
Crazy
12.
Canadians, man.
Yeah.
They're not all apologies.
They're super nice
donuts.
people, right? Till you piss them off.
Right. Oops, sorry, didn't see you dead there, eh?
Yeah, here's the scenario for the player that has many tigers.
Yeah, 3 to 8.
Tigers.
Or is that the next one?
No, it's this one. They recommend you actually play on a 12x8 table.
So like 4 times the normal size of the board.
Wow.
This is a tank.
12 turns.
Dear God.
They give you options for playing it on a standard 6x4 as well.
Full 8 tiger, Jesus.
And this is where they can ignore the Tiger Fear rule.
Right, this was the ambush one, right? This is the ambush.
This is where they ambush the Germans, yes.
Okay, yep. So they're waiting. So, yeah. This was an
It's
interesting
weird. I feel like
story.
they skipped the scenario where this guy like rolled through and blew up, 12 British tanks.
Is this the one with the special tiger?
The Black Baron?
Yeah.
The Whitman? Yes.
Okay.
So Whitman's Tiger 1 is 519 points veteran. It's a Tiger 1, so it's what you expect. He's got a special rule of fierce ambush. Whenever this unit fires from ambush, it may fire its main gun twice. Same or different targets.
That's really good.
That's spectacular. But wait, there's more.
Wait, which one is this?
This is the Black Baron. This is his.
This is the
Whitman's
special
tank.
character tiger.
Yes, special character Tiger 1. So it's got skills, each of which may be used once per game. So Lucky, we've heard about that one, where he can just, instead of being killed, he's just... Oh, sorry. So when enemy is about to roll a damage table chart, the roll is not made. The vehicle does not suffer from any further adverse effects from the hit. That's one. He's also got Hair Trigger, so he gets to fire after making a run move.
Hey, where'd that rule come from?
Right? I think they stole it from you, Jeff.
I think I stole it from them.
They've got. I think these are in Tank Wars or something similar. Like Eye for Terrain, I think is from Tank Wars.
These are Tank Wars.
Play when the vehicle ends its move at least 12 inches away from and in cover from all enemies. The vehicle goes hidden.
That's awesome.
Jesus.
That's.
How did you lose the tank?
Well, that's the idea, right?
Battle awareness. Play after both sides have deployed. If both players wish to use this ability, roll to see who goes first. You may reposition his vehicle up to 12 inches away from its original position.
Oh,
Still
my
dynamite
God.
deployment rules.
These are great one-offs, man.
Oh,
Yep.
519 points? Jesus.
Yeah.
For
What's a regular
Tiger,
Tiger
1, yeah.
What's a regular Tiger 1?
Not 519.
A lot, though. Let me see.
You got Easy Army open?
I do. 395 for regular, 474 for veteran.
So it's veteran at that price.
So 25, 35, 40, about 50 points more.
Totally worth every.
Oh, yeah.
Broke.
Lucky,
I love it.
Lucky alone is worth it.
Lucky's lucky, but the battle awareness is incredible.
Firing its main gun twice out of ambush.
You got to get him someplace you can put him in ambush, but yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
This is how
obviously
special
situational.
characters should be.
Well, it can run and shoot
Once.
Oh, whatever. Okay, and then you just ambush. Wow. Okay.
No, I like it when I like it going hidden.
And then it just disappears.
What do you mean you lost a tank?
Turns on the cloaking device.
Right.
Freaking Klingons.
Pretty awesome.
So yeah, if the last scenario can be played either normally or can be played to kill this tank, kill Whitman.
Okay.
But you're putting 7-8 tigers on the board? 3 to 8 tigers?
Dude. And you said this is a bigger table?
12 by 8.
Sweet.
So that's 4 6x4 tables.
Right. I mean,
That's awesome.
That's where are you setting that up? Not at a gaming club.
In the in a park.
Sure we are. We put all the tables to the sides and we play on the floor.
Right?
Going old school.
Tape it off.
Right? Don't step on my shit.
Well, then you're sitting up well enough that you can do those maps.
Right?
You know, the taller ones are on a hill, and you can make them bigger.
Actually, this is the perfect one to set up a little canopy tent and just play in the grass in a park someplace.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's an all-dayer.
Yeah.
12 turns.
But you're actually playing in the grass versus playing on a table.
Yeah.
So real one-to-one terrain.
I was going to say the train's provided.
Yeah, right? You just got to find the right layout.
And this is also you can do this 3-player because you can have British and Canadian in addition to the German, so you can do the 2v1 on it.
Why we should just do this scenario like everyone get their tank, and we just meet at a park.
Do we have 8 tigers amongst us?
I have one.
Yeah,
I have one.
I have one.
There's 3.
Ian's got at least one.
Okay.
I don't think I have any tigers. So.
Well, by the time we put it together, I could print a few more tigers.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. Right. You can buy a few more. It would be cool to do. Stake it out somewhere and just do it in the grass.
What are the Canadians and Allies using? Shermans? I got lots of Shermans.
Shermans and Fireflies, yeah.
I got tons of those. Okay.
You have to have giant
best
one
scenario
giant
in the book.
Dice.
Best scenario in the book right there. That one sounds like a lot of fun.
That's probably my favorite special character, actually.
Yeah, by far a killer character too.
You know, I actually think I don't remember the exact scale, but I think I own like a 1/12 Tiger tank.
A what? A bigger scale?
Oh yeah, 1/12. It's about
that would be huge.
Inches.
Okay,
it's massive. It's really cool.
Well, we could play in like a football field then.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know where we get the Shermans in that scale.
Oh, I bet you we could find models all over the place in that scale.
Yeah.
Let's look at what we can get here. We could make it like the world's largest bolt action game.
It'd be hilarious. I do have a tiger like that. I picked it up when Toys R Us was going out of business. I had it on a clearance rack for like $20 or something. There's like
130. What size?
I think it's like 1/12. I mean, it's huge.
1/12. That is huge.
It's seriously. It's got to be 18 inches long.
Here's a 135 Sherman for $125. Oh, $32 in shipping. Damn.
Yeah.
1/72nd. That's too small.
Yeah, that's really small.
That's like Flames of War type size.
Yep.
1/32nd is that's probably pretty close to. What is bolt action scale?
156.
156. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not 1/12. It might be 1/24 then. Let me see how big that is. Well, here we go. This is the thing I actually own. No, mine's not REU controlled. If it was, oh my god, that'd be amazing.
That would be. Let's do it. Oh, this has got to exist somewhere. Anyway, hell of a tangent here.
Yeah, just FYI, playing a game of bolt action with 116 RC tanks, Tigers and Shermans in the park.
That went more than 12 inches.
Oh god, there are Shermans though. Oh, this would be hot.
I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how you could get a bunch of cheap, big ass tanks and play like basically in a football field, right? Like, kind of like. You've been to Adepticon? That late night Titans fight that happens.
Yeah, something like
that. Like the one where they set up that big city and it's on the ground and I don't know. It's probably 20 feet by 20 feet.
Yep.
But make a tank war one like that. That'd be awesome.
That'd be amazing.
Just a bunch of inflatable tanks.
Okay. Anyway, so this scenario is pretty awesome. This looks like it'd be a ton of fun. This is a good club game.
Yeah, for sure.
Have all your friends come into the club. Take a couple tanks.
Well,
if there's 8 tigers, I think if you got 8 tigers, you could have everybody not driving a tiger could be driving 2 or 3 Shermans.
Right. The Allied side could definitely have more tanks.
Yeah.
Who gets to be the Black Baron is the.
Well, you obviously pick your best player to be the Black Baron.
So okay, got it.
And then you just have it. Whoever kills him, I don't know. You buy him wings that night or something. Whoever kills the Black Baron gets wings that night. And if no one kills the Black Baron, y'all have to buy his dinner that night.
Okay.
That could be fun.
It's something like that. I would have a blast doing this. This is like, we could make this happen. The whole 4 tables put together is a little bit of a challenge for sure, but
yeah, well, dude, we just stake out the Luce parking lot and play there.
Right? Yeah, right. Like,
there's no one there at night anyway.
Right. The whole second parking lot would be available for us.
If they're still building the road there, we'd have plenty of terrain. We could just go grab a couple handfuls of rocks.
Just bringing old culverts and other weird random construction equipment.
Well, it wouldn't look out of place in a lot of places.
We could just use boards. Yeah, we could just use our cones for corners.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. So anyway, this looks like a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I by far the best scenario, or I don't know. If
looks like the most
scenario, but
fun
it looks like
scenario
a good scenario. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun.
Doesn't seem to be hampering the Germans too much, and they got a badass character in there. So.
Yep.
Tigers are cool too.
And tigers are cool. Really cool.
I mean, yes, tigers are cool. I mean, tank wars in general are pretty fun.
Yeah, and so seldom played because they're so expensive in a standard bolt action game.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't seem competitive at all.
And then we have another secret special character, but he's above the scenario. I wonder is he supposed to be in that scenario? Question mark.
What are we looking at here?
So I'm moving on to the end of the beginning.
He's a tank commander, so.
Major David Curry.
Yeah.
He's an officer, 195 regular. What is he doing? He replaces your major option in the Canadian Armored Division platoon selector. You can also replace a major in a generic reinforced platoon list when you allow special characters.
Ooh.
So he has, as depicted, 195 as an officer. He's got the dogged, the hated SS, which Canadians all get that. We'll talk about that shortly. He's personal reconnaissance, so he counts as an intelligence officer.
Oh, that's nice.
Cool.
And Dale mentioned the tank commander. Exceptional aptitude for commanding tanks, meaning that any armored vehicle within his range can re-roll failed order test and morale checks.
Whoa.
Wow, that's really good, too.
That is good. Mm-hmm. He's got to be within range of the tank, but...
Would we say majors were 150?
150, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty damn
solid.
Good.
Intelligence officer is about a 30-ish point.
Yeah, he's regular, 150.
So,
15 points for that personal... Yeah, no, 15 points. Yeah, it's worth it.
Does he get the major rules then, though?
Yeah, he's a major.
He's a major.
It says he replaces a major option in the reinforced platoon, but that doesn't mean he gets the major rules.
Well, I mean, his title is Major David Curry. So.
I mean, it makes sense, but
I don't think his parents named him Major either.
It doesn't actually say it counts as a major, but I think
that's it. Next kid, I'm naming Major
does.
something or another.
Right. I'm just like his team is one officer. It doesn't say he's a major.
I mean, it doesn't say that he doesn't fly, so maybe he can fly.
I know. Yeah, I might be being a little too obtuse on that one, but it just feels like the word replace. Because it would be counts as a major option, a major in the reinforced platoon.
Well, then you'd be like, what it says counts as doesn't say he is.
No, there's something about the word replace that I'm not having. I'm not.
So you can't have him and a major.
Sure. Okay. Fair. Right. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're aiming at. I don't know. The
and
English language sucks.
Yeah. Right. There's just too many ways you can say the same thing.
I think they're trying to specify how he is selected.
Yeah.
As part of which selector, and then you can also put him in a selector for a generic reinforced platoon. So.
Right. I'm still confused by that though, because he replaces a major option, but that's a 0-1 slot anyway. So it's like you couldn't take two of them.
You're right. It does seem inconsistent with what we're saying.
I'm nitpicking words here because I think it is meant to replace a major, and it counts as a major. Right. Anyway, so scenario 13, he's in it.
He is. Well, he can be.
He can be. We take majors. It's like the most normal-looking board diagram ever.
Yeah, it's just...
in the book.
I mean, it's fine. It's
then Germans get 40% point advantage in this one, so I imagine they're defender.
Ouch.
40%, yikes.
It's not.
Yeah, ouch.
I'm sure the victory conditions reflected otherwise, so.
They generally do. Victory, Canadian gets 1 point for each enemy infantry unit and 3 points for every vehicle destroyed or unable to exit the boards. The Germans are trying to escape, it sounds like.
So they get more points but are trying to run away.
And there's just 1 point of one bridge that they can cross.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
And I do like that they have accounted for the idea of a armored vehicle blowing up on it. That you can push it out of the way if you have a vehicle with higher armor value than the one that you're pushing.
There you go. Yeah.
So you can get shit out of there if it gets stuck, which is smart.
Right.
I do like they have rules for pushing vehicles off the bridge if something gets canned on the bridge.
Yeah, right. Like that one Pegasus Bridge game where you're like, dude, what are you doing? Austin Powersing your tank across the table here.
It was effective. It worked.
It was very effective, but it was also probably borderline gamey.
Yeah, this is
this
is a super brutal push through scenario. God.
Yeah, right. I mean, the idea
everything's got to go through that damn bridge.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a choke point. Yeah, that's not so fun.
Singular choke point.
Where they're what the hell are those called? The flop sacks.
Flop sacks. You need the land Wasserschlepper to just put everything in there and just amphibious your way across the river.
The Wasserschleppers.
Okay. I mean,
cool.
And that was the 13th.
That's the scenarios.
Yep.
So,
all right.
13,
so now
fewer than we typically see, but there's a lot of meat in those. So.
A lot of meat in them.
And considering that they took almost 80 pages for I suppose it's closer to 75 pages of just scenarios. It's only 13, so they really have a lot of depth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Into tailoring those scenarios.
Yes.
Read them carefully.
Yes, for darn sure. There's what, each one is like 4 or 5 pages long by the looks of it.
Yeah.
They're huge.
Yep. So, and I mean, what you're used to seeing, but there are some good pictures and some maps. I think this is the one with the most maps that we've seen as well. So,
yep.
The pictures really got my making gaming boards juices flowing.
Yeah, these are some really nice looking boards.
Sure. Should we talk about some units then? Because I think that's the next step. This 120 some pages of that basically at this point.
Well,
there's some things here
other
that
stuff, theater selectors too. I suppose.
Yeah, I think
there's army lists. We'll get to those.
Yeah,
later.
I think this book finally includes a couple of things that people have been looking for quite a long time. So,
I think
let's dive in.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's talk about some new British stuff. Right, that's first on the list here. It looks like. Yep.
So they have an armored car support / assault section.
Yes, I was waiting for this.
You were waiting for this?
No, I'm kidding. Right. Neil just said we were waiting on. Some people are waiting on stuff. This is the one I was waiting on.
This isn't the one.
There's 2 things in here that are going to be a big deal.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
So you want to breeze over and get to the meat?
I mean, this one's cool in the sense that it gives you a better hidden role.
Well, they got the recon troop special role. They're first of all, they're generically costed. They're the 5 guys for 35 in experience, 58 regular, 65 veterans. So
they're actually tricking you because it's way more expensive than that because you have to buy a half-track weight scout car or armored truck with it.
There is that.
Yeah, so not exactly cheap.
So they can So what they are.
Yep, right, exactly.
Anti-tank platoon rifle detachment.
Okay.
Do we want to touch on because a lot of these are going to have some special rules. Do we want to go over those first or do we want to hit them after?
Let's hit them as we go if we can come across.
Yeah, we better hit them as we go.
Well,
that's going to be the easiest way.
Well, I mean, these may not be used as a generic reinforced platoon selector. So these are just
in this book.
Book only.
Yeah, book specific,
Right.
Yeah. So 33 regular, and so 11 points a guy basically. You can have one give a light mortar. You can have an option for light machine gun. They are trained gunners, which the HQ staff is made up of soldiers who have spent a great deal of time working on them. The unit counts as artillery for purposes of recrewing guns.
So it's a backup crew for a gun if you want it.
Oh, interesting. Kind of cool. Has some cool kit. Can get a light mortar. It's fun stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay. The next unit I do think people were waiting on.
I have been.
Yeah, yes. I think lots of people have been waiting.
They gave it to us in Western Desert, but then that book went up in flames almost literally. Royal Engineer section.
Yes.
Finally, a chance to put a flamethrower in a unit.
Yeah.
And are allowed in reinforced platoons.
And at multiple experience levels.
Yes. Yeah, that's cool because I think
not
outside
limited
of
that.
U.S.
sorry, the flamethrower are regular vet only. No inexperienced flamethrower teams. Thank you.
Well, that's fair, but
That sounds
typically
dangerous.
the engineers are always veterans, so this is nice.
Right.
Yep.
I think it's only the Americans that have regular vets.
Yeah, that's the only other one that I remember too. Is that they? Yeah. But there you go. You get your engineers and the Brits because they needed to have everything.
Yeah, and it is a maximum of one selection. Only one Royal Engineer section can be taken in your reinforced platoon.
So there's no spamming flamethrowers.
Not in the British list anyway.
Nope.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
U.S. and Germans can still.
They have a stubborn option.
Yeah, you can buy stubborn.
Yep.
1 point per model.
If the section of airborne engineers, it must be veteran and pay to become stubborn.
It's pretty awesome.
Right. It's still cool. You can get stubborn veterans.
And the force must include a paratrooper section to upgrade the Royal Engineers in this manner.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I like it.
why
That's
would you
cool.
not? That I do think that's a flavorful. I like how they've addressed the airborne engineers.
Yep.
Cool.
So they covered the bases really well here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Then they got a Bren AA gun.
Yeah.
Right.
Flak.
It's an LMG that is on a platform. At 30 points.
Yeah.
It's on a platform, so it can, spin around. It's only an LMG, though. Still cheaper than an MMG team.
Right.
It doesn't shoot as good, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a pass.
Oh, but look,
for
you
me.
could pay more points than they get a twin brand.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so for 45 points, you can get 8 dice. That's on a platform.
It's suddenly better.
And instead of 50 for 3 dice 5 dice. 50 points for an MMG team.
Making a twin makes it worth it.
This counts as an anti-aircraft gun for the purposes of the generic reinforced platoon selection. So
So it's
gonna
taking
take
your artillery spot.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah.
So,
But if you're playing an all infantry force anyway, like you want to be mobile,
Yeah.
then it's fine because you're
Yeah,
not going
there
to
you
take a gun anyway.
Right.
And this is a way to get an 8. Let's see, fixed. So you're going to have to. Yeah, okay, that's a little pain in the ass.
Well, it's on a platform.
Yeah, it's also fixed, so you're not going to be able to move and shoot with it. So you're going to have to set it up to shoot. So
Right, but you can still pivot and shoot
yeah,
without
it's just
penalty.
toads because it's a light machine gun, not a medium machine gun. Or any
Yeah, that
machine
part
gun.
sucks.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
So,
Okay, I don't know that I'd take one, but maybe.
I wouldn't leave my 25-pounder off the board. So,
Well, no.
Okay.
then they've got the M4A4 flail tank.
Woo.
So basically, the only difference between a normal one and this is the flail.
Yep.
Right.
You can just
Clear minefields.
Kill minefields. Yeah.
Yep. And they've got
Once, because it looks like if it moves into a tank minefield, the flail's destroyed.
Which is what would happen if it hit a mine, right?
Yep.
They just put a new one on.
Just means if for some reason you've defensively invested in multiple anti-tank minefields, you can laugh at the guy when he can't get through all of them.
I guess there's that.
That's some 4D chess right there.
Yeah, right? Okay.
Okay.
Wasp 2C.
Yep.
So this is at a 140 points regular, forward-facing flamethrower on the front arc, forward-facing pintle-mounted MMG, and a forward-facing light mortar.
This is the Canadian Wasp. So
Yep.
I think
cool
it
to
needs
see.
more guns on it.
Right. Well, and it's got the so it's a small vehicle flamethrower, so it's limited to 12 inches, which is the vehicle flamethrower rule. Its hits are multiplied by d6, and it doesn't get the +1 at the end.
Oh, all right, fine, but if it's limited to 12 inches, that's
So, and it can either fire the Pintle MMG or the light mortar, but not both. In addition to the flamethrower.
Okay. I want to raise a point here. Stop copying and pasting, guys.
yeah.
You know, this is we're how many years into second edition, and we're still saying things like limited to 12 inches on a flamethrower? Come on.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the universal carrier chassis, so it has the turn on the spot rules.
That's cool.
Plastic armor.
Wait, hang on. Wait, on a vehicle flamethrower, how do you calculate hits?
D6 +1.
Not this one.
This one's only D6.
That's not what it says. And the number of hits is only multiplied by D6. Well, I guess it's 1 times D6.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Normally, it doesn't say it flies either, Dale. Come on.
Wow.
Good one.
It's a wasp. I mean, it's implied, right?
Well, I see multiplied, and I'm thinking,
right?
If you're multiplying by a D6,
the one hit
I'm
is
thinking,
multiplied by D6.
Wow.
If you hit right, you're doing 36 hits.
Well, yeah, and I'm just trying to figure out where have we ever seen any kind of multiplying hit before? And I thought there was. Right. That's
version 1 vernacular.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So it can have the plastic armor for 20 points. It can go up to an 8+. It's still open top, but
8+ stat. That's not so bad.
8+ is nice if you don't care about pins.
No, you still kind of care about pins.
Oh, and then the last thing, the wasp ignores all pins. No, wait, that's not.
Yeah, because that would be right for a British.
That's because it's
Canadian.
British.
The British version ignores all pins.
This is Canadian. Yeah. I'm sorry. So we got some cars. I don't think there's anything to write home about, so I think we can just keep moving.
No.
Fox.
No,
I like the Fox is something to write home about.
You think so?
Well, I'm a little sad that it's a HMG and not a light anti-tank gun, but it's got an HMG and a coaxial MMG on an 8+ recce closed top armor gun.
Oh yeah, for
105 points.
That is actually kind of good.
That's a lot of DACA.
Yeah, for 105 points, it's just
for 105
top,
closed top 8+ light tank.
If you could fire them both, I'd be on board. But it's either the HMG or the MMG.
It's coaxial.
Oh,
yeah,
it's true.
And it's not hull-mounted HMG. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, it's coaxial.
Yeah,
so you got to pick.
It counts for generic reinforced platoon.
There you go.
You know, I like the Fox armored car. It looks cool.
Then
I like it. Not sure I'd take it, but I like it.
It looks like it could move too. So
yeah,
dude, it looks like it has a giant fucking gun on top of it. Why is it not shooting like a normal? Like you said, why is it not a light anti-tank gun? I think it's sweet looking.
Yeah.
Okay.
50 caliber. So.
Yeah, I guess it is only 50 cal. Lynx.
Which is hilarious because that's almost the size of anti-tank rifles in some armies.
Yeah.
Which would have made it a 2+. But whatever, it's cool. I like the 8+. It's just hard to kill. Good in a recon list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
let's talk about a water weasel. I want to talk about water weasels.
You want to talk about my water weasel?
Not about your water weasels.
Oh, okay.
Water weasel.
Yeah, right. The transport and tows. M29 Weasel can be amphibious, so you can drag your freaking tank, your howitzer across the light howitzer across the river. There you go. If there's a thing you need to
Does the howitzer make it too?
I don't know. Is it like Oregon Trail? Like you have to roll? Oh, we sunk. You lost 3 oxen.
This may be the worst transport I've ever seen.
The Weasel?
Yeah.
Well, it's an armored carrier.
It's seven. What transport is it?
Well, it's a universal carrier chassis again.
All right. You can turn on the spot.
Turn on the spot.
Yeah, I like that, and it can recce, but there's no weapon, and there's no option to take a weapon.
It's an artillery tow. It's not meant to have weapons.
With a transport of a capability of 5 men, that's
the universal carrier.
Right.
That's what it is. That's right, but there's no weapon option.
Well, how much is a mule team? Like 12 points?
Yeah, but they can't swim, dude.
Hey, I played Oregon Trail. Sometimes they get across.
Yeah, could they drag your howitzer across too? I don't know. I mean, it's a thing. Whatever. Hey, I'm just gonna keep going here because that one, that's all the excitement in those. We get an ambulance in here.
Yeah.
All right.
A generic reinforced platoon.
And it counts. Yeah. It counts as an ambulance for your generic reinforced platoon. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's an open top. Well, at least it's armored.
Right.
The regular ambulance that's in FAQ is a soft skin.
Yeah, 6+ soft skin, right? Yes, this is armored.
Armored open top.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got the medic within 6 inches.
Yeah. It's cool.
Oof.
Infantry and artillery, so.
Yeah, right. I see the Canadians like to name stuff after animals. I've seen lynx, and now we got an otter.
Well, these are still British.
Yeah.
Well, it's Canadian otter.
No, it's Canadian, so.
Okay, all right.
It was designed and built by Canada.
The one here there's one here that I like. So, and it's
let's talk about it.
Yeah, so it's a different approach in this book than I recall seeing in the past ones, but it may be just their approach to. I mean, if you're still with us, you've probably noticed that there's a ton of Canadian options in here because there is a Canadian selector that we're going to talk about in a little bit, which is one of the things I think some people have been looking for. Sure. And so, as part of that, they wanted to build out, and I'm assuming they wanted to build out the list and include as much as they can. And so, they've got the Staghound Mark I armored car and a number of options that you can put onto it.
Love the Steggy.
Yeah.
And you can take out the MMG and the light anti-tank gun and replace it with a medium anti-tank gun. So you're ending up with an armored car with recce and a medium anti-tank gun, which I think is really good.
Almost a Puma.
It's almost a Puma, yeah.
Almost a Puma.
For a marginal point upgrade, for sure.
Yeah.
10 points
for,
more. I
for
think
a light point upgrade, it's great.
I think that's pushing it to 175, though.
And Pat, a Steggy's an 8+, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's really solid.
It's basically a Puma
8+
for a little bit more.
Medium with recce, which I think makes it really strong.
Totally.
So, I like that.
Cool.
Especially if it looks good. So.
Yeah, and you got a bunch of like extra options that were available to the Canadians, like Ram Kangaroo options.
Sorry, 145 to 155 with the medium anti-tank gun.
Yeah, dude, 155.
Dude, it's cheaper. It's 5 points cheaper.
That's brilliant. So you've got an effective tank hunter against opposing tanks for 100 points less, and the defensive ability with recce on it. So,
yep.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And generally only 1 point of armor less than a medium tank. So,
right.
Yeah, it's great. It's great everywhere except that board where it's all trees except the road.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that's very solid.
Yeah, I like that one. So.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Moving along to German units.
Looks to me like someone tried to scratch the S off that units here for the cover page for this, but it didn't work out.
It looks like they just shot at it a little bit.
Because there's one of them.
Yeah, singular unit.
Who wants to pronounce that one?
Heldenklau?
That's it.
That sounds good.
I've been doing Rosetta Stone on the side. I'm not. I'm joking. Who would take this unit?
30 points inexperienced for 4 guys with rifles.
Five guys. But the NCO doesn't count as an NCO because they... We'll read it in a second, sorry. You just get 5 guys.
You can add up to 5 more at 6 points. 6 points each. You can put an LMG for only 15 points.
Why?
Because they're already overcosted.
Yeah, right? Yeah, right. Because why not?
You have a Panzerfaust for 5.
Yep.
Hey, all right. They've at least given them...
never going to hit anything with.
Right.
They have the we ain't foot sloggers rule.
Wait. Oh, I'm so confused. Because I get why they're doing this. Because you can have exchange your rifles for pistols at no cost. Because why would you do that?
Well, the NCO and one man can exchange.
Right, and then the next rule is that they've lost their NCO.
Yeah.
It counts as having lost their NCOs.
Right.
Well, these...
that's the we ain't foot sloggers, meaning the count is... So their morale is reduced by 1.
Yeah,
so
these...
inexperienced and lost morale, yeah.
Yeah, these guys, they weren't like frontline trained military personnel. They were logistics people.
Look at the bright side. If a sniper shoots your NCO off this squad, you don't care because you're already treated as having lost your
dear
NCO.
God.
And then minimal training, they don't get their special rules, so you can't replace the NCO you don't have.
Right.
Or get the extra dice on the freaking weapon that they have.
The 15-point LMG does not have the extra dice.
Right.
Or because the gun functions more poorly in the hands of a noob.
Yes.
Or if they find themselves in a Tiger tank, you wouldn't get the
You think it's coincidence there's a Tiger 2 and a Panzer IV right below it?
Right. We got to stop bitching about German stuff because they're going to start giving us
even
units
this
that we
unit
can play with.
Even this unit knows Tiger Fear sucks, and they're like, "No, we don't get that rule."
Right?
We aren't associating with those guys.
I think there's a drinking game someplace to make the most worthless German unit and put it in a book. This one's winning.
How many points is a normal inexperience? Are they even cheaper than normal?
No. Yes, they are point cheaper.
By point.
They're
they're
all point cheaper. Okay.
Yeah.
Normally 7 is inexperienced.
Yeah. Okay. So
they can have a Panzerfaust. So I mean,
they don't know what to do with it.
35 points gets you a Panzerfaust and nothing else, and you basically
5 wounds.
Actually, you know what? This squad, if this is sort of like if you didn't want to play Hitler Youth, because they're Hitler Youth,
Mm-hmm.
but you wanted the same effectiveness.
And you wanted to paint up some mailmen and the dog catcher, and
right?
You know,
some overweight clerk, you know, and
right.
you know, a couple old men on crutches. I don't know. Jesus.
A chef.
A chef. Oh, oh my God, that'd be a great squad. It's the chef and his like sous chefs, and they're all in their chef hats.
It's like the hot pot, the Hobbit hot pot, or
with the
whatever.
pants.
Yeah, that would actually be really good. Okay, I like this unit more now
because it could add some flavor for sure, but
literally because they're chefs.
Right.
I mean, you could do a really sweet,
a
sweet display
sausage.
board with your chefs on it. You know, I mean, they've set up a little, you know,
you could do all of it though, right? You
kielbasa stall.
You could have like a 5-man beer team and a 5-man
Yeah,
sausage.
do
band.
Oktoberfest.
Yeah, you have the polka band and
You got a polka band. You got the chef. You could probably mix in some of those the waitress ladies. What are you call them?
the beer wenches.
I was trying to think of something better to call them, but yeah.
I mean, I think that's what they are. I don't know what they're called in real life.
I don't know what they're called. My Bavarian hostesses.
They are part of a generic reinforced platoon.
Yeah,
Beer
Clow.
wenches are?
No, the squad.
It means hero claw. So I mean, you know,
Hero Claw? Really?
Hero claw, yeah.
Dude. Oh, you could have like a film unit in there too. Guys with cameras and stuff, you know, they're taking.
Well, no, because then someone will think it's a war reporter, and those aren't allowed almost anywhere.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So that's the German unit.
Yeah, just the one.
So
well, as good as that one is, it's
with
probably
it,
best
at
they
least.
stopped.
Well, I mean, most of the others. I mean, you can find everything else in other books.
Everything else is covered somewhere.
So they're
Right.
called Der Kellner is sorry, Germans, people that serve alcohol at Oktoberfest. Just
Okay.
FYI.
All right, cool. Whole squads of them, man. Just whole army of them. Why not?
Just women holding beers. Everybody feel bad. They wouldn't shoot at them.
Then you'll win.
Right.
Set my objective: serve drinks.
Yeah. Just bring shots of schnapps with you. This sounds like a great Adepticon. All right.
I think we've done that one.
What, schnapps at Adepticon?
Yeah,
No, probably not.
Yeah, there's.
I don't think we're allowed to drink at Adepticon.
No, you're not allowed to have shrimp. I'm not allowed to drink. I'll
You're
have
not
the
allowed
shrimp.
to drink. I'm not allowed to have shrimp.
Yeah.
You eat the shrimp and I'll drink.
Deal. Except, wait, no, that sounds awful. What
does
you
sound
experienced
awful.
sounds way worse than what I experienced, and mine was very much self-inflicted. Anyway, all right, let's move along here. So we get some new theater selectors as well. This is where I think people were waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's skip it.
Okay. Yep. And we're moving on. Thanks for listening to us. We are Snafu Podcast.
Over and out.
Yep. Yeah. Peace. So now we get a new British.
Swear to God,
selector.
Pat, put like a 5-second break in there.
Start the music. Well, what do you mean? There's 45 minutes left.
It's 45 minutes if you play
Time.
backwards. You hear me brushing my teeth.
Just farting, like just random noises as if you're going about your day. Just Pat clicking on the keyboard. Tangenting. Let's talk about the new army lists.
There's a lot of them.
Right.
Well, there's some new selectors, and I think what's interesting about the selectors is the one thing I found interesting about selectors is the artillery or the mortar specific
I like the
selectors.
mortar one. Yeah.
So it's
the spotter thing?
right? The spotter thing, but you find your selections are slanted towards whatever the platoon is that you're building towards. So clearly, a mortar platoon would have access to more mortars than you would find in an anti-tank
Up to 6.
platoon or a reinforced platoon. Whatever
Up
the
to
case may be.
6.
3 mandatory and another 0-3.
Right, and so what I like is that they're putting special rules into if you take this reinforced mortar selector, then you get the spotter rule. So,
And the spotter is that he acts. You get one. Is it 1 per 2 or 1 per 3? In some cases, just 1, and he acts as a spotter for all of them.
all right, I think typically any spotter can spot for any mortar on the board. So, which is awesome.
Let's see. So there's the mobile spotter rule. So spotter be given his own Bren. Ooh, that's a different guy. That's a here's a spotter and a Bren carrier. Go have fun with that.
For plus 10, yeah, but
yeah.
Yep.
But still, it gets
so platoon spotter. The gun troop was focused on a single platoon for 4 artillery guns. So the gun troop reinforced platoon is limited to 1 spotter. All guns in the platoon can draw a line of sight from the platoon spotter.
Right, and some selector special rules for platoon spotters. You can have 1 spotter for every 2 medium mortars, and then all mortars in the platoon can draw a line of sight from any of the platoon spotters. So it depends upon which platoon you're pulling from, but you kind of see that. So which is nice.
Then there's the artillery one, which is 2 mandatory, and then another 0-2 artillery.
I think that's what I was reading on. Oh, I'm seeing the mortar one now. Okay.
Yeah. You can add additional crew to the 25 pounders to a maximum of 6, so they can go from 3 to 6.
And so I like that they're giving special rules as kind of a bonus. And so there's a machine gun reinforced platoon. There's artillery gun troop. There's a mounted or a mobile one. And so the special rules there aren't as exciting. It's like if it's a mobile or mounted infantry platoon, then everyone has to have transport, or the artillery one, everyone has to have a tow. Well, those are all kind of things you're already going to do. I'd like to see something that's more exciting in the rule.
Right, like, it gets a free move or something, or like...
Yeah, or if you've got the transport one, then, you get half of your troops or have transports for free, like cheap transports or whatever.
Right. Or for every one you get one for free, same cost or something or whatever.
Right. So something that kind of goes into something that you can get excited about, collecting and trying out and those kinds of things. So
sure.
And then here's where they kind of start to get interesting with the armored divisions. So they highlight the Desert Rats, the Black Bull, All-Seeing Eye, which is the guards, and then the Polish armored division. And they swap out their normal national characteristics for specific ones based on those.
Yeah, which is cool.
Cool. That is cool.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
And we'll let you find those out yourself, because there's a lot of them, and they do kind of tailor to or towards what they were. So,
I do like that they don't let you just pick whatever you want.
I will tell you that the Polish armor do get the vengeance rule from the British. And that one is if you're within 12 inches of enemy at the start of a turn, you can roll a d6 on a 4+, you get to remove a pin before giving that order.
That's awesome. In this case.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? There's some German ones in here too.
What?
There's some German selectors. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yuck. I don't know what to tell you, but not yuck in a good way. This first one is
Static Division sounds like it's just brilliant.
Hot.
There's some RNG in this one. I mean, it's not the best troops. They're sitting there, and then
they got a Goliath.
You've got the second line at best. Yeah, well, I mean, you've got the second line at best rule.
That's the brutalest thing I've seen. Like, okay. Although I guess
not if you roll 6s. So
right, I suppose.
Why don't you go through that rule real quick?
Yeah. What's that?
What is that rule?
All right, so second line at best is part of the Static Division Reinforced Platoon Selector, which is a new German theater selector for this book. And basically you can't have anything veteran for this selector. And then you roll a die for each one of your infantry units before the game starts, and you consult a table, D6 obviously. 1 is bad, depending upon what you have. So if it's a regular unit and you roll a 1, then they're downgraded to inexperienced. If they're inexperienced, you roll a 1, they're downgraded to shirkers. And if they're the Osttruppen, they have to take a down order for their first turn. 2 to 5, no effect. 6, then it's a little bit better. Osttruppen, they lose their shirker. Inexperienced, they're upgraded to regular. And then your regulars are given the stubborn rule. So, I mean, nah.
Yeah.
So, it's, but I mean, if you have the book and you're running through the scenarios, then this is the another extra layer there that just kind of helps you.
I mean, okay, let's just keep layering the shit on the stack here, because the next roll is reluctant, meaning they have to take anytime an artillery takes artillery or team weapon fires, it has to take a check at an additional pin marker. So even if it has none, it still takes one out of -1.
Yeah, it's like, well, you Germans get to find out what Tiger Fair's like, or the old Tiger Fair.
But you can also take an LMG or MMG for -5 points in exchange for losing the Hitler's buzzsaw.
All right, so this might not be a selector that you opt for at Bug Eater.
Yeah, yeah, it's probably not.
I mean,
you take this if you're playing this campaign.
Yes. But that's kind of what you expect in a campaign book.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's what this book... I mean, I think this book is clearly not for competitive players. This is definitely to play these scenarios.
Well, right. I mean, there are a few things, and we're going to get to the good stuff here in a little bit.
Although, I would take that mortar selector.
Yeah. 6 mortars sounds like a bad day for somebody.
Right?
I would love to play against that list.
Right, yeah. Up and downs. It's got.
Well, yeah, because you're only getting like 2 infantry. I think you're 0-2 in actual infantry.
Yeah, good point. Actually, well, you could take another. Could you take another normal select or normal theater or not normal? A normal reinforced platoon with it, or would they have to be the same?
Depends on tournament rules.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking Bug Eater. Right?
Yes, they do not have to be the same platoon.
Right, they don't have to be the same platoon type. So,
right,
you take a normal British selector at that point. Or Canadian, whatever. Anyway. Ooh. Cool. How about the next one? We take the next one to a tournament that allows theater selectors. The Panzer Normandy Reinforced Platoon.
Wasn't this a tank one?
No. It's a Grenadiers. It's Grenadiers.
Panzer Lear. This is pretty good.
As far
demonstration
as it goes.
division. All units must be veteran, with the exception of transports and tows, which can be regular. Elite leadership. They discard D2 pin markers rather than just one when they pass an order check.
Also, when you do a snap to action, which is nice. I thought this was their elite Panzer demonstration unit. I thought it was just the Panzers, but it's not. So, okay.
0-3 Panzerschreck teams.
I mean, they're expensive, but they're really good.
Right.
Well, veterans, best upgrade for your points. But dropping D2 pins.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
For the officers, by the way. So.
It's an interesting choice. If you're going to take an elite force, this is maybe worth exploring. The 3 Panzerschrecks is interesting. Kind of spreads that shit out.
0-2 medium machine gun teams.
Yeah, I'm all over that one.
Yeah.
Only 4 squads.
To 2 to 6.
Oh, yeah, you have your baseline 2. And
I missed that 2 at the
5.
top. I was confused for a second there. Yeah, okay.
You got an extra squad in there.
Yep.
That's not bad.
A veteran, though. I mean, still kind of...
No Nebelwerfer, though. That's too bad.
Well, you can have a Puma.
You still get your 88, dude. Veteran 88 in there.
I still get my 88, though. Yeah, that's true.
And just make your veteran 88 out of this, and you just have a bunch of... You still only have 1 Pioneer squad, though.
No.
Still interesting. You get some extra benefits for taking it if you can. I like that. I like that they're layering on some new rules for theater selectors if you can do them.
I agree.
All right.
Armored observation post vehicles.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
The OP that is OP.
Sounds great. Sounds like the British get more fun stuff.
Well, everyone kind of does.
Fair.
So this basically is a vehicle that has your artillery forward observers in it.
Okay.
Armored.
Usually. Armored, yep. So they're 0-1. And basically they look like the rest of the tanks of whatever unit they're in, except for they don't usually have the main gun, and if you give them a fire order, they can do their artillery strike thing.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But that's all they can do.
Right, they don't get to fire their other gun, because
right.
most of them have MMGs or HMGs or whatever. MMGs.
Yep. But it also means your artillery observer, after he's called in a strike, isn't useless anymore, because now he's in a fucking tank with a machine gun.
Right, and he's probably fairly survivable.
So, for example, like the British one, they have a Cromwell for 120 points. Right. He's got the artillery observer or air observer in there, and a hull-mounted MMG.
And a 9+ chassis. That's not bad.
Yeah, can't complain about that.
Yeah, and it counts as your observer. So, which you're paying for, what, they're 75 points or 100 points?
Air observers are 75, artillery observers are 100.
Right, so an extra 20 points, you can have a Sherman artillery forward observer with a whole mounted MMG. That's a great 20-point upgrade if you're running an artillery observer. So,
is that all it is, or is it just a transport for him?
Counts as an artillery forward observer transport. Wait, forward observer transport.
Yeah. So the armored OP is an armored OP vehicle that is a transport vehicle, but may only transport artillery forward observer teams of up to 3 models.
It doesn't actually.
Oh, it doesn't replace. It's just a thing you buy him, and he has to get.
So he's 240 points.
220.
220. Yeah, that makes his own. Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh, that makes me sad. That's too bad because that would be a great 120-point option.
What are you talking about? It's fine for British.
Yeah, right, because it's free. Yeah, that's still silly.
Yeah, until version 3 comes out. Wait, what?
Right.
Yeah. So again, British Uber allies.
Right.
Well, so here's the Otter armored one is only 60.
Okay.
It's open topped and recce.
I'm way less excited about these all of a sudden.
Yeah. These went from cool to kind of
right, because the Otter does reinforce that it is just the transport, though, right? Because you're not getting an artillery observer for 60 points now.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Like,
I should read the whole sentence. That's probably important.
Read the something manual. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
We don't do that here.
Right.
Oh, that's
they do count as generic reinforced platoon, so
you can do this in regular if you want to, but it's.
So the British have a reason to. Everyone else is kind of like, eh.
Right. Fortunately, or fortunately, if you're a British player.
But so I don't know. I throw away 120 points just to give my artillery observer a cool ride.
Well, especially since they're pretty survivable. I said survivable, and I'm like, wait, they're survivable as it is.
I don't know. 120 point 9+ tank with a machine gun ain't bad.
It's still something they got to deal with, and it's
yeah.
And it's in addition to your normal tank slot. So
and it's 2 order dice.
It's 2 order dice, and it's armor
because
9.
It's a transport.
It's a transport. Yeah, it does not replace
armor 9 solid. I don't think it's worth 220 points, but it might be worth 120 points. In the British list.
Right. Yeah, British list it might be worth it, but everyone else not so much. All right. I think
as soon as the embarked artillery forward observer is given a fire order, then the vehicle receives a down order. So you definitely 2 order dice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Now, if it was just an actual transport and you could be like the Americans and stick 3 forward observers in it, that'd be cool.
Oh God.
Yeah, that would be cool. The only armored OP transport that caught my eye was the German one based off of the Panzer chassis because it comes with Tiger Fear. So, under the old rules, we'd see these all over the place because it doesn't say you have to take an artillery forward observer. It just says it can count as a transport for one.
And now it's an empty transport.
For 120 points. Yeah, for 120 points. It would be an empty transport.
Yeah. You couldn't ram that down his throat.
Closer then.
Oh yeah, so if you just keep it in your back lines, we're talking the old Tiger Fear rule, but
right,
the old Tiger Fear would be
very nice.
Yeah, this does become the cheapest way to pick up Tiger Fear.
Sure,
yeah.
Should you be so inclined?
Sorry, I read that other line about the transport, guys.
So.
Yeah, well, it is a thing.
Yeah.
So that kind of cheesed those pretty hard, didn't it?
It definitely took some wind out of my sails for liking them.
Sorry, man. You know me reading all the words and stuff.
No, it would have been too good otherwise.
Could have been everywhere.
Oh, for sure.
We've been going on a while, guys. We still haven't gotten to the good bits, so let's push.
Okay. So, all right. So the next thing is new intelligence officers and chaplains.
We know about those.
Yep.
Okay. They're new ones, or they're the same?
They're the same.
They're the same.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, I just
same rules effectively.
New. Okay. So
well, I mean, in the previous book, Germans got the intelligence unit. In this one, the British have that option, so they can have a intelligence unit. So
they got that one from Bulge.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I still am trying to figure out what the support officer guy is. Is this just basically
look at the special rules? That's why you take him.
Yep, trained gunner, and he has the gun commander rule. So
he's just kind of like he hooks up to your main.
So the gun commander is he can basically snap 2 guns.
Yep.
Okay. And then the trained gunners he can.
So he babysits a gun pit, and then you use him as a replacement crew if you need it.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
But is he? I'm trying to figure out what the hell is his point cost?
It depends upon. He's an HQ choice.
He's an HQ choice, so you can replace your lieutenant.
You can take him as a lieutenant, second lieutenant, captain, or major.
Right. I like this though because he gives you some other benefit.
And he also can take up to 5 additional men.
Yeah.
So you can have a big crew with him.
That's cool.
So there's a better option for your first lieutenant.
Yeah, it's a more flexible option, and he comes with the ability to actually kind of upgrade your artillery, which is cool.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting choice. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. We've kind of talked about the new special units, new special rules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've touched them in places.
We've touched them in hopefully nice places, though.
Yeah.
Chaplains we talked about. All right, great. Okay, let's get to the good part then.
All right, so here's the first thing that I think they did that people were looking for. We actually have a commando army list here.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've only got 20 of them painted.
So their army special rules are unfreaking believable.
Would we like to go through those?
Yes, we should. We shall.
Okay, so this is a British Army list. This is an army list in and of itself.
Right. Yep.
It's not a theater selector. It's an army list.
Right. So instead of a British list, you will take a British commando list. Right.
So they have limited support. Commander reinforced platoons do not gain bombardment or artillery support special rules from Great Britain.
Okay.
That seems like a negative.
Until
close quarters combat troops, they have the benefit of tough as boots.
Right. So they're making you select tough as boots.
Yep.
Okay. So you have in close combat for every 3 you get an extra dice attacking.
Yep.
Right.
You have to take tough as boots.
Ready to take a charge.
Oh wait! You need to finish reading that sentence.
Oh, in addition to any national characteristic chosen by the player.
So you get tough as boots
plus,
and something
for free.
else.
Yeah. Right.
You're losing your bombardment and you're losing your artillery observer. That's a huge loss.
Okay, so you get an extra special roll. Yeah, sure.
Got some tears running down my face right now.
I am. Can I have a minute here?
Let's keep reading.
Keep reading.
Ready to take charge. What's that, Pat?
This is infantry, even if they are of lower rank, specifically select. Okay, so if commando loses an NCO, roll dice on a 3+. Oh, we don't lose it.
So you don't lose your NCO. But keep reading, Pat. There's more. Team weapon suffers exceptional damage on a roll of a 3+.
You're more
not dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's sniper safe too, to some degree. 2/3 of the time you'll save your.
They have some sniper insurance.
Yeah, I mean 2/3 of the time you'll save it. Okay. Hold on. Yeah,
I'm feeling a little hate on that one.
I'm trying to read number 10 Inter-Allied Commandos too.
So this was a commando unit that included people from multiple nationalities. So
you get vengeance.
Yeah.
Instead of tough as boots, if you take the number 10 list, the Inter-Allied.
Oh, sure.
portion.
But you are also still entitled to a second national characteristic of your choice.
Right.
Yeah.
So you get 2 special rules and you lose the bombardment. Watch out.
And the artillery observer.
Okay, so you lose your free unit.
Yeah. That's rough, man.
Oh, man.
I think this is a good list.
dude, freaking amazing.
I
Hang
think
on,
they did.
Let me finish ordering
like
the rest of these
commandos.
commandos from Warlord, and I'll get back to you in just a second.
So, I like it. So they've got commando options for almost everything. So.
Yep, and then they have some commando officers.
Yep, which is just officers a little more point heavy.
Well, I
because
mean,
they're all veteran.
They get behind enemy lines too.
They get behind enemy lines.
Yes, and now the HQ units are getting the rest of the commando special rules.
Yes, they're getting tough fighter too. So
yep.
You're what's a heavy weapons officer do? Oh, gun gives you gun commander and train gunner. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they've
fleshed out
an entire
the
new
commando
list.
list. I like it.
I love it.
It's cool.
Commando chaplain, even sweet.
Yeah. So if you've ever
commando medic,
if you've ever wanted to get a commando list, and you're like, wow, I mean, can I really do a proper commando list? I think this section right here is gonna be for you.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It is spectacular, and now finally a reason to actually put my commandos on the table.
Yes, these are really good rules.
Well, because they don't have Gurkhas in this list, so...
The Royal Navy Beachmaster is funny in its sense, but not super... it's got some funny... if it's got a rally order, it will make reserves via boat, landing craft, or amphibious vehicle ignore the -1 cover.
To come in, sure. Yeah, so it's basically an extension of the behind enemy lines that it can do to the transport stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure, this sounds great. I love everything about it so far.
They don't get a flamethrower,
and it seems really complete. Well, they get the engineer section.
Well, they do. There we go.
They get the
they
get the new Royal Engineers. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got the engineer section. It's got all the HQ choices, the intelligence officer, the chaplain, and so it's pretty complete in all of the selections that it can make, which is great.
Wait, here you go. Here's another one this is another little nugget in here that I totally glossed over the first time. The Army Commando subsection, you can add a commando lieutenant. Note that this is an addition of a single officer model and is not entire command HQ. So you can bring a 5-man squad and add another second Louis in there. Or a commando lieutenant. I'm not sure why you would do this necessarily, but you have the option.
No, they still didn't get the Piat. They got all the mortars, and they have no vehicles.
No, they do get behind enemy lines, so.
Right.
I mean, they're commandos.
They shouldn't need them.
So.
But they get no tanks. They get no artillery. There's all team weapons and infantry.
Well, so it's pretty close combat oriented. So.
Well, yeah, tough as boots kind of will get you there.
Yeah, infantry heavy, yeah.
And they're gonna take your objectives and they're gonna hold them.
Because they're all freaking vets.
I do think it's interesting.
And tough fighters.
What I'm gathering from these special rules in here, or what I'm seeing in here right now, says that it looks like you can add your Louis to one of your other units.
Really?
Yeah, right. So, because the Royal Navy Commando subsection has the capability of adding a commando commando lieutenant RN. Go to the next one. Has the same thing listed in there that you're allowed to bring a second Louis as part of this unit. So it says it's an addition of a single officer model, not an entire commando officer HQ, with the option of further models. So it looks like you are able to bring your Louis in one of these units.
Nice.
Yep. You can get a medium mortar team, commando medium mortar team. That's really good.
And you can't have your separate flamethrower team. I mean,
yep.
They've kind of got all the stuff except for any of the heavy stuff. So,
all vet commando team.
There's a commando engineer section in here, Pat.
Yeah. Dale mentioned that.
You got access to a flamethrower. You got access to a medium mortar. You're fine.
Yeah.
You got access to Piats.
Yeah.
You don't have any artillery. You don't have any armored vehicles. You don't have any armored cars. But I think seeing this on the table would scare me a little bit.
And I guess
you only see half of it because the ref's going to freaking outflank you anyway.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. I mean, it's not a combined arms rich opportunity kind of a list. It's a commando list, and I think that it's really well fleshed out, and it's going to 100%, knock it out of the park as far as those guys that are really interested in doing a commando style.
Oh,
list, so
I'd be on it. I'm all over this one.
Yeah.
Motorbikes. Let's go over motorbike rules again really quick, just out of curiosity. Those are not like bikes. Those can go on normal ground. They can't. It's not just roads, correct?
Yeah, they can go across normal ground. They're wheeled.
They're basically like a wheel transport.
They can make as many turns as you want.
Okay.
Yep.
So you can get a unit of 9 dudes with SMG or Tough Fighter, but they just come with Tough Fighter, obviously.
right.
Oh, they're 19 points a pop. Ouch.
Yeah.
For all the motorcycle detachment.
Yeah. But the motorcycle detachment's kind of cool because you basically get a transport without the transport.
Yeah, and they'll get where you want to be.
Right, and if you give them SMGs, that's 21 points a model, but they'll pew stuff pretty good. Oh, yeah. You got everything. You got all. You just don't have weapon. You don't have any.
No artillery, no armor card, no tanks.
You got mortars and shit.
Yeah.
I'm not crying for you. You get 2 special rules.
Pretty good.
You get some special characters too. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
How much is a
I think
captain?
that's very cool. What's that?
How much is a captain?
120, 130?
125 regular. Or excuse me, 125 veteran. 110 regular.
Okay. I've got a 135. I'm just looking at Captain Patrick KRM.
And no, he's not actually spelling that. It's Patrick K. R.M.
Yeah. It's K-A-Y.
It's not the letter K followed by the letter R and the letter M.
Right, because he's got a logician. Like, it's an interesting little thing where you can add 1 extra selection from any single option presented in the infantry selection of the theater selector.
So there's your 2nd Engineer Squad.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
For a little bit more. I mean, obviously he's still a captain, so you've got to.
And you're on a captain. Yep.
Yeah, you're getting the captain's benefit. That's really good.
It's an interesting. I mean, for a list that has no other tricks, that's kind of a cool one. Anyway,
and then they've got Captain Kiefer.
Yeah, good old Kiefer.
Any unit activated by him automatically succeeds when testing to carry out an assault. Okay. He's a veteran major at 175.
I like it.
Yeesh.
Still pricey.
Yeah. But, still characters.
Yep.
And then they got some theater selectors for those guys.
Well,
did you catch his special rule?
Which one?
Kiefer's?
Leads from the front?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Automatically succeeds carrying out an assault? Jesus Christ.
Yep.
With Tough Fighter guys, that's amazing. Any unit activated by him.
Yeah, that's
There's a major. So snap to action, 4 units, and they all successfully assault? Wow.
I mean, you really got to be up in their grill.
Well, he's got a 12-inch command range. He's a major.
Right. Good point.
I mean,
they're not all the same target either. Yeah, that's going to be...
That's brutal.
That'll be fun.
Veteran tough fighters.
Yeah, Bonsai, eat your heart out.
Right?
That is basically
they don't have to go with the closest.
Right.
Gurkhas be jealous.
So here's the interesting thing. It's a new army list, but there's no generic reinforced selector available to the commando army list. Mm-hmm. These new units are only available in the theater selectors that we're going to go through now, and some of these theater selectors do include armored cars and things like that.
Oh, good.
So
there you go.
But if you love your commando army list and you want to play it, you're going to have to...
I think it's fine by itself.
You're going to have to get permission from your friends. I don't think these are not added to the generic reinforced selector, unfortunately. So just kind of a heads up, because I went back and double checked it.
No, it's an army list of itself.
It's the first one that I've seen that doesn't include. Here's the generic reinforced selector. So
I would imagine. Wait, are we saying that it doesn't cover the normal?
These new units may only be included in the specific selectors that are listed.
Provided. Okay.
Yep. So so what? There's the early war commando troop. reinforced platoon, which is just the HQ and the infantry. And then you've got the mid-war commando troop beach raiding party, which headquarters infantry, some transports, and then farther down is where you start to see artillery included, armored cars, tanks, things like that.
Okay.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I'm interested how they define these. Is this like an army like the Belgians would be an army?
It has its own special rules, army special rules. I think it's its own
classify this
army.
as its own army, and it's not a reinforced platoon of the British. It's its own standalone army. Is kind of how I'm looking at this. I may be wrong, but that's what I
think. Yep, I'm with you on that, Pat. So finally, a commando army list. So well done. I like it.
Terrifying and glorious all at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. So you're absolutely right, Dale. I just had to go back and read it again because I was still kind of confused by it. But they do specifically say, unless noted, all units can only be used with these selectors.
Right. So there's a little bit of a poo-poo in the platter. But
right. So this is still bug eater legal.
For sure, bug eater legal.
Yep.
But it's not Snafu legal, because Snafu, if it was like a completely new army list that just followed the reinforced platoon, would totally it would be a Snafu list, right? You'd be allowed to take it, I guess, and maybe we'd have to talk about that, but
right,
that's over assuming. But it's not as it is much more cut and dry than I thought. Okay, bummer.
Well, again, what you're seeing more often in these air quotes competitive tournament lists is that they're saying only units and lists from X book are allowed. So, and obviously they're not including campaign books and that kind of stuff. Like if you look at the WTC, what Adepticon Nationals is they're just the theater books or campaign books are just not part of the selection. Right. So that takes them out off that.
I don't think they were really intended to be kind of balanced in the competitive scene per se. So
now that being said,
yeah.
It's not stopping you from making a generic reinforced platoon where all your infantry selectors are commandos.
Right.
You're just not getting all those other special benefits that this list is showing.
Right. Okay.
Reach out to your TO, see if they'll make an exception or whatever the case may be. I mean, why not? And I think the farther that we get away from the initial release of second edition rule book and those first army books, it becomes more difficult to really just kind of keep everything in sync, which is probably why they've gone the route of, the campaign books are their own thing. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Yep. I do think it's interesting that one of the new special characters, Brigadier Simon Fraser, was in the Overlord book, but they're now making him available to the generic reinforced platoon, which is a bizarre thing to do in a book, but anyway.
So, and they did the same thing, Dale, with the Canadian.
Right, which is the second thing that I think some folks have been trying to figure out. How do I do a Canadian list from the Commonwealth?
And I'll have to go back and double check the book where they introduced the Australian Army and see if they actually did the same thing, because I know those are often being allowed in as part of the armies of sort of stuff. Those are also being allowed. The same way that the Chinese list from Empire in Flames is being allowed in. So this might start making that cut, because I think it's solid.
Yeah.
And it's a distinction between British and Canadian, eh?
Yeah. So there's a Canadian list now, which I really like. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were waiting for.
I think so too.
Very patiently, and said "excuse me" when it wasn't out in every book.
Yeah, I mean we've gotten some messages, and it's been a while. How do I do a Canadian list? Is there a Canadian list out there? And now there is.
So should we go through it?
Yeah.
All right. So they got some special rules. We had talked about the dogged earlier. So all regular and veteran Canadian infantry may be upgraded stubborn for +1. All inexperienced can be upgraded to green for +1. Army wide. You have an entire stubborn freaking army.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a paratrooper. Just any of them. They don't want to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they also hate the SS. So for Canadian, accept no quarter when fighting SS. They are fanatic in close quarters against SS units.
Yep.
Very awesome. Situational.
It is, but what's nice here
Super
is
very.
They don't. That's not the only 2 rules they get. They get those 2 rules, but they get those 2 rules in lieu of choosing
their national
characteristic.
So they still get the artillery observer. They still get the roll 2 dice on the prepper to bombardment and choose the one you want.
Right, and then
they're still getting that.
Dogged and hate the SS. So
basically, the dogged and hate the SS replace the rapid fire, the toughest boots that you can choose.
Yep.
So solid, very cool. Still under the umbrella of the Empire, as it were.
Part of the Commonwealth.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Much better.
And
right,
then
and then
it's what you would expect, typically. I didn't dig too deeply into this one. I was just kind of excited that they pulled them out, and because I'm not as familiar from a historical perspective, everything that they were involved in. So, other than all the distinctions that they made with the otter and the wasp and the lynx and those kinds of things, and we've already talked a little bit about that. So, but I'm actually relatively happy for all those players that have kind of been waiting around for the Commando. Well, I am happy for the Commando players and now the Canadian players. So, good stuff.
There's an interesting one in here. The Canadian Tank Hunter can have up to 4 Piats in it.
Oh, that's unusual. That is a good.
Pretty nice,
right?
We've got
5 vets with 4 Piats. Although they're still Piats. I mean, Pat will bitch all he wants about them, but
they have.
I don't think a Piat's a one-use weapon, though. So.
It's not. Yeah, it's not a Panzerfaust.
This is kind of interesting. So they're 3-for-1 selection. So like Americans get 3 MMG teams for 1. Russians they have a 3-for-1 selection. The Canadians have a 3-for-1 selection. For motorcycle sidecar. In their armored car, they can take up to 3 Canadian motorcycle sidecars. For 38 points regular, it's a forward-facing LMG on a soft skin with recce and turn on the spot. Huh. That is kind of interesting. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't usually. I'm probably asking Jeff this actually.
Yeah.
Because you've done the sidecars and the motorcycles. Yeah. Is that okay? I mean, that seems kind of. I think that might be all right actually.
So my problem with that is I'm reading that right. 3 motorcycle combinations as 1 armored car selection, meaning it'd still be under 1 order dice.
Yeah, it's like the same damn
with
issue.
The Kubelkar
yeah,
problem.
Right, exactly.
I don't read it like that.
Well, I don't read the Kubelkar like that either, but I've been officially told that's how I'm supposed to read it.
Oh, so. Is that how the Kubelkar reads?
That is.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't read that way if you read it, but when asking for clarification, that is what they've given us. Is that it is a singular die for all of them.
Oh, I want to take out my other books now to see if that's a similar kind of thing that reads for those other 3-for-1 selections.
Yeah, which just makes a can of worms for them. But
as 3 order dice, each one a 38-point armored, 38-point motorcycle team with the LMG, I think they're fantastic.
Right. If they're
all 1 order dice, it's not as fantastic.
You're right. That's not as good.
And then it opens up Pandora's box of like, okay, you fucking destroy one. How does that work? Like. How do you shoot at it?
Well, like, if they're their own individual dice, that works fine. But
right.
You're right. If it's not,
right. If it's 1 dice, it's a problem because now it's how like I shoot at 3 things at it and I killed it 3 times.
Yeah, it's the Kubelwagen problem. Yeah, because it's the exact same problem the Kubelwagen.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
That's why no one plays them because they're too complicated.
Right. Nobody's talking about the skink.
Mom always told me not to talk about skanks.
Yeah, right.
That's
Not like
that's not what nice way to refer. Wow. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
I beat you to the joke.
skinks. It's
Oh.
not not an A. It's an I. It's a 9+ Canadian tank with quad autocannons.
Quad light autocannon. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Oh,
For 230
Paying
points.
for it, though.
it's a quad.
It's quad, and it is also experimental, which is not as good.
Is
but
the autocannon the 2 1-inch templates?
yes? So
Yes.
4 of them is 8 templates strung together.
Is that four hits, 4 dice, or one roll to hit?
4 dice.
It's 8
I know
dice.
it's light 8 dice.
8 dice. So then you roll 8 dice, you see how many hits. Yeah. Just like normal. I don't know. I'm trying to explain to you bolt action. I don't know why. Yeah.
We covered that somewhere.
Yes,
Oh,
right.
it always has to take an order check.
Which is the
that stinks.
It's the downside of it, but still,
For 230 points, if it wasn't experimental,
right.
You should absolutely take this.
It seems sweet.
Yeah, it's very cool.
9+ closed top. Sure, it easily catches fire, but
and it's a hole mounted MMG, which means you get to shoot that separately.
Right.
yes.
Skink.
I really like this actually
Quad autocannon is brutal.
because
Yeah,
that's
inside
gonna
a
Plus
tank?
2 pen.
that's
or
gonna put
1
pins.
HG.
That's gonna put pins on your vehicles, and maybe even an offhand chance to what's the penetration on the light?
So
autocannon?
fight-
it's
if you
either
fire-
plus 2
It's 2.
or it's
you're
the
firing
1-inch
launchers.
template, which is 1.
So you're melting face either way.
Well, you're absolutely wrecking infantry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
If you go ambush with this and catch infantry in the open, you're going to crush
Wow.
a squad at a time.
and it will pin vehicles, which
It will
makes
pin
it
vehicles, for
definitely
sure.
worthwhile. So, especially if you can get around the side.
8 dice. Hello.
This would wreck any of my lists.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to deal with it. I mean,
I would not be able to deal with it.
In the off chance somebody brought an aircraft, this will drive the aircraft off, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just
So-
posted a picture of it. It's pretty. It looks like a Sherman with more deca on top of it.
That's weird because I thought it was a
Crusader.
it's replacing the Crusader AA tank. Yeah, that's right. It's replacing the Crusader AA tank.
It's replacing it. What I read in the book was that it was Canadian. It was Canadian though.
Yeah.
Well, right. So like the Crusader is a British anti-aircraft tank
Oh,
design,
to replace
Crusader
okay.
AA.
Okay, so they made it look like it.
and this is better.
Right. Okay.
Oh, I missed-
Numbers manufactured. 3.
Yeah.
Hence limited numbers. You can only ever
Yes.
have one, no matter the number you think you would get.
No matter how many platoons you're running.
Yeah. I just it was a cool thing there.
That's not fair. You should be able to take all 3 of them in a single platoon.
Right? We have the 3.
My armed platoon is 3 skanks, and everybody's like, "I'm not playing you."
Yeah, right.
I like it. I like that a lot, actually.
Even with experimental, I guess I'm still like you're gonna babysit it.
Yeah.
Boy,
Well-
it'll brutalize enemies, though.
Right.
Oh, you're rolling so many dice. That's I
8
like
dice
that.
is that. That's
8 dice at +2.
That's the
is pretty
consistency
gross.
you're looking
Yeah.
for, Dale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
Yep.
careful use, you could wreck Japanese lists with this.
Right. Yeah, you have to be careful still, but
You'd have to still be careful, but this should eliminate charging squads.
Yeah, and I mean, and for if you're really concerned about tanks, you've got your one unit that can have 4 Piats in it. So I mean,
right.
Yep.
You have other options. Doesn't these guys get the Staghound?
They could also have that Staghound
Yeah.
for medium anti-tank gun. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're just filling your anti-tank with your other slot, your armored car
Yep.
slot,
With your Staghound. Yep.
and this is just replacing some of what you would normally do with that slot. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's 140 points. There's your medium anti-tank gun right there.
Right.
Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of liking this. Yeah.
Build a Canadian list.
Brutal. I like it.
I just wish one of their special rules wasn't so limited. I don't know there's anything else to write home about other than that there's some other theater selectors in here.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like,
well, we gotta leave something for people to read the book for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, there's lots of stuff in here. I love that they've done this. Now I'm really curious about, are these actually standalone lists that can be taken, or are they only still meant to be used in
I would
scenarios?
expect this Canadian list to be incorporated to the competitive circle, if you will.
Sure. I'm more wondering about the other one.
The Commando?
The Commando one. Yeah. I think the Commando one, no, not
Well,
going
and
to
the
lie,
other two that we'll touch on as
yeah.
well will probably also be in the same part as that Commando
Sure.
one.
Yeah, it's a little bit more in line with competitive play.
I will say I like this very much. I also wish there was a standalone book for the... so we have France and the Allies. It's supposed to cover all the Allied forces, but it really only covers the early war Allied forces.
Sure.
So like an Allied forces list that's got your Canadian Army list, your Polish Army list. I know they're under the British banner, but...
Yeah, like the Commonwealth, but they're not all Commonwealth.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Yeah.
Well, they pulled out the Australians.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So either give everyone that treatment or not, like one way or the other. Although I guess that one was, kind of outside help pushed along. So
it's true.
That's
just me wanting, because it solves the question of, is this an Army list standalone? I can take a Canadian Army, or do I have to take a British Army? And this isn't going to be available in a standard tournament.
Yeah.
What's a standard tournament? And
right.
Then we're just into a different kettle of fish. But I like the fact that Canadians have their own Army list now. That's cool. I wish the Poles had also gotten one, but so it's life.
Maybe down the road. So
yeah, I don't know where else you'd put it if you didn't put it here, though. But yeah,
right.
Yeah, that seems like a big miss.
A new Allied book and a new.
Well, if you were focusing, yeah, that's true. I mean, if you were focusing just on their involvement in the war, you might do the very early days, the resistance, and then their action hand in hand with within the Commonwealth as far as supporting the Allies and that kind of stuff. So maybe if you do it all together, kind of a thing, and you each version of it and just kind of cover it off. So like in the same way that they did that they've done, the Canada rules here. You've got each of the selectors at different time periods and all the inclusions. Maybe you could do something similar with the Polish, where it's the very early war before they even knew there was a war happening, and then you've got the resistance, and you cover off all the partisan stuff, and I don't know, maybe something along those lines. But there might be enough there for a whole book, depending upon how deep you want to dig into it. But
and every book doesn't have to be nearly 200 pages.
I was going to say, a 60-page book that covered an army would be nice.
Right. Well, because you don't necessarily need all of the history in the book either, though I appreciate it. It's not... I
love the history in the book, yeah. But it's not necessary to have a recap of the entire war section.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty prevalent on the internet how you can read about World War II.
Yeah, but I think...
What's this internet?
That's right.
I think the real win is if you're able to pick up, the ways in which a lot of the minor powers, minor in quotes, right, the way that the work that they did and all, how they put into the war, the effort and all those kinds of things. Because we know, clearly we know what America did or what we were taught America did, and right. British and the Commonwealth and all those kinds of things. But if you can, put the focus on these other parties that put everything that they did into it, I think that would be cool. That would be sweet, And I'm always hearing, I want to do a Polish paratrooper list, and I don't necessarily know why that would be cool, but a whole book just focusing on that involvement, that'd be sweet, it'd be cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So the next one. Let's talk about the next one. The 12th SS Hinterjugend.
Hitlerjugend.
Hitlerjugend.
Mm-hmm. The Hitler Youth.
So yes.
Hitler Youth.
This is Hitler Youth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they got their own list.
Yikes. Okay.
It's an alternative to the one presented in Battleground Europe.
Sure. That makes sense, I guess. When was that book released? A long time ago.
Yep.
Yeah, that was first edition book.
Okay. Let's go through their special rules because we got a couple here.
So, in addition to the normal Germany rules, they also add
Angriff.
Angriff. So if they fail an order check, instead of going down, they run towards the closest visible enemy.
Jesus. Okay. If it touches a unit, it counts as a charge.
Yeah. This rule only applies to infantry on the ground, not transports and not medic teams.
Oh,
Jesus.
Okay.
Well, thank God,
Yeah,
because
right.
Suicidal
Fanaticism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just makes them easier to kill.
Right. Any units,
Well,
units with this rule gain fanatic
They
special
gain
rule.
fanatic.
Sure, they get fanatic, and their damage value is 1 less than normal.
Yeah.
Youch.
Jesus.
Yeah, so which means that inexperienced are being killed on a 2-up, regular on a 3-up, and veterans
Right.
on a 4-up.
Yeah. It's
This is not your competitive list.
Well,
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I need to see the rest of the list before I say that.
Okay.
So
that is the
infantry-
correct answer.
Yeah. So infantry squad, like I'm just skipping over the. I don't see anything in the officer stuff that makes a
Well, what
difference.
about the blind obedience that the officers have?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we need to talk about that.
HQ unit have blind obedience, whilst the lower education of the standard SS officer. They do not benefit from the Blitzkrieg Armo Special Rule on page 17 in Germany.
Well, there you go then.
Do not benefit from Blitzkrieg.
Right.
And
Don't get
tempered
Blitzkrieg.
steel is the important rule here.
They do not have the suicidal fanaticism or Angriff special rules, but are simply fanatics.
So
Captains
your
and majors.
captains and majors are safe.
Hold on.
Veterans.
Read the rest of the rule.
Your veteran
addition-
captains and majors. Yeah.
In addition, any friendly unit within 6 inches of the officer also replace suicidal fanaticism
With
fanatic.
fanatic.
Oh, jeez.
By the way, this is the first German officer that's available inexperienced.
Yep.
Okay.
So
okay.
you keep them within 6 or 12 if you have a captain major, and they don't have to die needlessly
They're just fanatics.
or easier. They're only fanatic.
Only.
All you have to do within 6. It doesn't matter what type of officer it is.
Yeah, it does say that. Yeah, 6
Yeah, it
inches.
just says it's always
Okay.
6 inches.
Does it? Yeah, you're right.
But still, yeah.
But still, it's only has to be touching one dude within 6 inches, though, right? So it's like it's the friendly unit, right? It's not just the model,
It's just gauging the Nebelwerfer range.
right? Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so the next
They
step
are the
is
Nebelwerfer.
the next step down is you can go look at their infantry squad. So they have an SS infantry squad for normal price, but they just get fanatic or suicidal fanaticism.
Yeah, they all get suicidal fanaticism. 'Cause
Right.
that's the Army
So they
Special Rule.
get fanatics without having to pay for it, which is nice.
Yeah, so in order to mitigate the suicidal part of the fanaticism, you've got a tax of a veteran captain or major,
Yep.
which is going
Not
to
sure that I
run
want to
you.
get rid of it.
It doesn't have a
100.
captain.
Yeah, it does. Veteran captains or majors
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
is what takes away the suicidal fanaticism for units that are within 6 inches of it. So,
Yeah,
and you can do
yeah.
the support officer as well,
Yes.
Which-
I don't know that I want to get rid of it.
which is the well, maybe. I mean, if you're getting wounded as a veteran on a 4-up, that's pretty
That's
rough.
harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're already fanatics, so it's not like you're going to lose the combat right away. You're just there to see how many of them that you can kill.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you
In
can,
close combat, yeah.
yeah, if you can pick them up, cheaply enough, and straight up, you might be able to. So it's one of those things. So,
They got pioneer squads.
and
so
actually, that's a good
flamethrowers.
point, Jeff. I
Well,
hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah.
Here's how you go now. If you're building around this list and you want to do that, you just take the special character. Kurt Meyer gives you the 12-inch bubble.
How expensive is Kurt? Mr.
185 for a
185
major.
as a major.
That's not
So
bad.
35 over standard. That's not
Right,
bad.
but he's giving you fanatic across 24-inch bubble, right?
Pretty good.
If you're really worried about it.
12-inch, right?
I'm kind of with Jeff though.
No,
that, like, just don't
he's
start
also
it.
says 6-inch. He also says 6-inch for the repeal suicidal fanaticism.
Yeah, but then underneath it, he has inspired fanaticism. So
Yeah,
That's weird.
which changes it to 12 inches.
Okay.
yeah, it's still kind of weird. I agree. That
So
it says
tempered
6 inches
steel
above.
is
Okay,
changes
this
it
is-
to fanatic, and inspired boosts it to 12 inches. It's
There you go.
written kind of weird. So
Yeah, it would have made that all just one roll.
their infantry squads can have up to 4 Panzerfausts. So.
Well, hold on. The Inspired Fanatic says they retain it even if they're at one man. Fanatic.
Oh no, you're right. That is different. It's just a 6-inch bubble.
Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, never mind. You're right.
Yeah, he'll make anybody stay Fanatic down to the last man.
Reading.
Usually you lose Fanatic if you're the last man.
Reading's hard.
Yep.
Yeah,
He's still okay.
it's okay, but I don't know if it's 35 points.
Well, he's doing that. He's doing the major. I think it's worth 35 points.
Okay. I don't know.
With the Angriff special rule too, you might find your guys getting out of that 6-inch bubble. So you might just have to embrace it, like you were saying, Jeff.
I think you do embrace it, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to take a major, Kurt is fine, but I don't know that you want to. I think you just let him run free.
Just get more dudes, just more bodies on the table.
Yeah, more dudes.
It ends
dudes.
up being a horde list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, send dudes.
Right.
I mean, which I think is kind of what the list ended up kind of being. So it was just waves. So.
Yep.
So that must just be replacing the infantry out of the normal army because their theater lists are still showing a lot of the standard selections.
Yeah, I would imagine that you're just able to still take the other stuff as normal.
So this is still a lot of the consult your TO if this is going to be legit.
Right.
So here's a spin on the Japanese Banzai Fanatic infantry list that just runs across the table, but it's extended beyond the Japanese book, which is kind of an interesting way that they've gone in this. So
yeah, Jeff found something.
Well, yeah, artillery selector. They're able to take a Nebelwerfer.
Oh.
This list is awesome for 2 turns.
Does the Nebelwerfer, does it not shoot if your unit is within 6 inches of the target?
Correct,
or does it
shots
hit?
Can't shoot, yeah.
No, shot's wasted. You can't fire.
Okay, the shot is
fire.
wasted. All right.
You can take a 222 or a 2... Oh, you can get a 232 8-rad. That's a great armored car. That's close top,
Basically a
7
Puma,
plus.
but not quite.
Well, it's an autocannon instead
Yeah,
of a medium
that's right.
tank gun. But other than that, it's great. Let's see. What do you got for tanks?
They got the Whirlwind. So, I mean...
That's pretty good.
I'm in.
Stuka,
Clearly I'm in.
Stuka Zafus if you need more Nebelwerfer action.
Who doesn't need
Panzer
more
4
Nebel?
if you don't. Yeah.
It comes
Hummel,
with Tiger's
West.
Fear. Okay.
Field car, Kugelwagen. That's not a bad... I mean, it's a particular play style. I don't think that's a bad list at all.
They have the... here you go, Jeff. There's the bread and butter. The heavy mortar platoon. They can take a Nebelwerfer.
And they only
6
have
mortars.
two of the SS infantry units, which
Yeah.
is 12 guys max in each one, I think.
Yeah, it's a little bit light, but
Light on infantry, you
But
got the Nebelwerfer.
you got a Nebelwerfer and you got 6 mortars on the table.
5. Well, 2 mediums.
Oh, I'm sorry, 5. Yeah, 5. You're right.
3 mediums. Yeah. Your Nebelwerfer.
And
All mortars in the platoon can draw line of sight from any of the platoon spotters.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but if you're fighting Canadians, they're going to hate you.
They are gonna hit you, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to complain about they needed to better proofread some of this stuff because it says your reinforced platoon is limited to a maximum of 1 spotter. In the sentence right by, all mortars in the platoon can draw line of sight from any of the platoon spotters.
That's the platoon spotter rule. Which they
Right, I understand.
copy and
No, I
pasted
know, I
on.
know. I'm just saying is you're limited to 1, but then it says you can draw line of sight from any of them. Am I missing something there?
Each section of 2 mortars, so you get 1 per 2. You can have 1 spotter for every 2 mortars.
Ah, there we go. That's the sentence I was missing. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, I just need to read better. I'll yell at myself.
So you could have up
later.
to 3 spotters because you could have 5 mortar teams,
Right.
1 per 2.
Okay, and then you can draw from anywhere. That's
Yep.
valuable. It's cool.
I mean, it's not 5 spotters, but it's 3.
Right. Right, but you can
it's
draw
not
a
the
line
end
of
of the
sight from
world.
any of them.
Yep,
That's sweet.
pretty good. And you get a
So,
Nebelwerfer for
yeah.
any time you want to just flatten something.
Right.
I don't know. It's not terrible. I think I'd play the base list over this, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, right. It's okay. Let's move on to the Luftwaffe Field Division.
Yep.
This one started to excite me until I realized it was almost all.
He was completely inexperienced. Second-rate troops, poor quality NCOs, and prepared defenses. So it's we have force may not include any veteran or artillery units. Well, just okay. Oh, veteran infantry or artillery units. So you still can take regular. Blah blah blah. Poor. So they were not trained to the same extent. So they don't get to use the special rules. They don't get initiative training. So you don't get to replace them when they die. Which fine.
Yeah, so they don't get the automatic well, not automatic, but they don't get the NCO replacement.
They were prepared defenses. They were mostly dug in, waiting. So it may include 100 points of defenses for free, found on pages 184 and 85 of this book.
Yeah, so they get an extra 100 points worth of defensive emplacements,
which is cool. I like that.
Yeah.
They're all pretty. I think they're all pretty standard from.
It's reminiscent of the Italians get their little hardcover. So,
but not only in defense.
Yeah,
they don't get it for just defensive scenarios.
Right.
They always have it.
Mm-hmm.
Although who the hell knows that this is allowed for anything. So they got a bunch of crap. They've got a bunch of negative rules, but they get to keep any of their other rules. Yeah, they get to use their. In addition,
all the others except for the NCO thing. So,
yep.
Again, it's just another one of these things similar to there's a commando list now. There's a Luftwaffe list if you wanted to put together something, and there's a Hitler Youth list. So,
right, this is like the defense list, right? But
it's to represent those positions on the battlefield that the Luftwaffe were holding behind, obviously because they're supporting the Luftwaffe.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so when the Allies were moving against those positions, and the regular field troops for the Germans were otherwise occupied, this represents those forces. So I'm assuming similar to the naval forces that ended up having to, fight.
Sure. Yeah. Right. We're going to just kind of briefly go through these because I'm getting tired. I think Pat's asleep right now.
I'm good.
Okay.
Ish.
Well, the Luftwaffe guys you can read them yourselves. There's nothing you haven't seen before. Right. There's Luftwaffe pioneers. You can get inexperienced flamethrower. Oh, regular only. Never mind.
They're catching on to us trying to break their shit.
so really whoopty. I mean, you've seen all these things before. If you want to play a Luftwaffe field division, here you go.
Okay. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna.
The selectors aren't that impressive until you get to the flak platoon. Okay. That's the only one that looks like something unique to me or new. And that's because you can take two 88s as your troop choices.
Youch.
And 2 more 88s as your artillery
selection.
So you could have 4 88s.
Yay.
I think they're inexperienced, though. So
Just saying.
Does a Warlord have that really nice plastic 88 kit now?
They do.
Yeah.
They really do.
Oh,
and, of course, trained anti-aircraft gunners. So if all weapons with the flak rule may reroll to hit when shooting at aircraft. So if you bring an aircraft in against this list, that's your fault.
I actually like the other side of it, too, though, that it allows you to reroll failed hold fires. Yeah, if you have your own aircraft. Not that you'll bring an aircraft. But
right.
Not that anyone would bring an aircraft.
No.
Can you even bring one? It doesn't even say you can bring one.
I don't think that you can.
So somehow you managed to get one in the list.
Yeah, it's only an artillery observer.
Yeah.
So if somehow an aircraft shows up unexpectedly, say you're playing at Snafu, you can hold your fire.
Well, no, there's that. If it's coming in, they roll a 1, it's going to target their enemy.
Well,
I think you still roll against it, don't you?
Right, but you.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think you roll before you figure out what happens to it, don't you?
Sure. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
No one brings them enough
if they're
to investigate that
sounds
roll.
kind of hot.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I don't see this one. Yeah, I don't see this one getting a lot of play comparative to the other ones.
This is very much a stylistic play. Like you really want to play a field division.
Yep.
Luftwaffe field division.
Which I love the idea of them doing some more of that, especially since I think the Germans had some more variants. Well, I guess I don't know how much the Navy fought outside of the Marines.
If they had to.
Not on land.
Not on land, yeah. Right.
They could help it.
Right. Again, outside of the Marines.
Yeah, outside of the Marines.
But But even if they made a Marine list that was specific to Marines, I'd love that. I think that's kind of what they're doing here. But they're kind of maybe not picking the most exciting ones first. The Commando one is sweet, but
the Commando one's pretty cool.
I kind of like that one. Interested.
Yeah.
I do. I think the way they put this all together, it wasn't my favorite. I think I would have preferred a Commando list as part of, like Jeff was saying, like a little standalone thing, maybe 60 pages or something like that, to really kind of detail a lot of their action and how they were utilized, and going into the specifics of that of the international commando unit and maybe why they had. I think that just being able to dig into that single aspect. I mean, I like that it's here. I like that the Canadian list is here. The Hitlerjugend, the Luftwaffe, but there's so much here. It feels like,
tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe
there's more to be done there.
And maybe there could have been, I mean, I like that they're getting it all out and so people can get it and they can digest it and do that kind of stuff. But it almost feels like, some of these things could have been better served just as individual projects on their own kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I wanted a nice steak and you took me to a Brazilian steakhouse where they brought 50 cuts of meats and I'm like, this is awesome, but Jesus Christ, I want one cut of meat.
Right. I really wanted the filet, yeah.
Yeah, if you're ever in a Brazilian steakhouse, ask for the picanha. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one.
That's what you want.
What is it?
It's it's all I know is that my a really good Portuguese friend of mine from a long time ago took me to a Brazilian steakhouse, and he's like, you have to ask for this. And I couldn't, and he wrote it down for me, picanha. And he was right. I don't know exactly what it was, but awesome.
Mystery meats.
And I agree.
Great flavor.
I specifically asked for that cut of meat at a Brazilian steakhouse. It's really good.
Picanha, yep. Anyways, so that's kind of my take on it, on the book. I mean, there are some cool things in here, if you dig into it, and I'm sure there's stuff that we missed, but I really feel like they kind of missed something a little bit, putting so much into it. Sure. Like the Commando list could have been its own thing. The Canadian book probably could have been its own thing. A lot of the support stuff, it just would have, I was trying to follow the flow of the book and things like that, and I just couldn't put it all together. So
sure. Actually, that would have been. I'm kind of on board with what you're saying now. Like, I actually like the idea of not necessarily a theater book. I'm using air quotes here, but instead it's the Army Ranger book. And now there's a new list for just Army, like the U.S. Army Rangers, and how they would have built a list for that. And you could have different
detailing
Army books.
their actions.
Yeah, but you have a different book for different aspects of it, right? You could have the United States main reinforced platoon book. But then now there's an Army Ranger book, or there's a Marine book, or there's a Luftwaffe book, or whatever. You have these subsection books that would make it more interesting for those, or like a Commando book for the British, like whatever it would be. I think that would make a really cool, like another new supplement. Yeah, you could have, and it could. The beauty of it though would be like you could just pop one out, and it's not necessarily invalidating anything else, but it's now there's just a new list and it's new excitement and
supplementing instead of
and most of it could be like transport. See this from this book instead of reproducing it
over 1 million times. And I love the idea of them being able to. I like what they're doing here in a sense. Like you lose this rule, you get this other rule instead.
I like that too.
Like I think that adds flavor to these lists, but like you said. I like the idea of them being outside of theater selectors and being available for tournament play and, whatever, and however you want to do it. Like, they'd have to balance them a little better maybe, but I think that adds a new element of depth to me, like the idea of just being able to have new lists available. And I like the idea of it not being so another manufacturer that people often complain about with books, where it doesn't invalidate any of the other books. It's just a different book. It's another version of the book. Although if they power creep the shit out of it, then that would be a different thing. But
right, that's what you don't want to avoid. But I agree. There's a lot of bang for your buck in this book insofar as there's a lot of content. I just,
yeah, I think we've been getting spoiled.
I didn't want to get overwhelmed with hot meat in my face. I wanted one.
You just wanted a specific meat, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And it feels like, I mean, they're kind of on the path of that already. I mean, initially you had these, the big army books, like the armies of Japan, the armies of the United States. And so they kind of gave you as much as they could so you could kind of pull from that to fit wherever you wanted to be for your particular army or the particular time of war and things like that. And so now they're starting to drill in, even in the campaign books. You had Empire in Flames, but then they did, the Papua New Guinea book, or they had Battleground Europe, but now they're doing the D-Day parts of it and the Market Garden or something. And so they are kind of starting to drill down from a campaign perspective. I think it would be cool to see them do that with an army list perspective. Like you said, these were the Marines and this is what they were about. These were the Commandos. This is what they were about. Right. This was the Polish involvement in the war. They're in the national book, but they participated within the Commonwealth or in support of the Allies and things like that. I think that would be cool.
Probably gloss over Norway, okay, though. I think it's covered well enough.
Right, and France and the Allies, that was kind of encompassing everything early on so that people could get in and start playing bolt action. But because we're as far along as we are, maybe we could start seeing something else. And
Romania could have its nice own drill down for, a 40, 60-page book. That would be good.
Right, and I think that would be really interesting historically as well, because then you could really focus on their involvement and their contribution.
Warlord, you could sell more books.
And I think that would be cool because I wouldn't even know necessarily where to go to find stuff like that. I guess I could Google it and stuff like that. But the thing is because I'm involved in bolt action and the new books come out and I'm interested in it, it would be a really easy way for me to pick something up and go like, oh, that's awesome. These guys were sweet and this is what they did. How cool would it be to put together an army to reflect that cool shit? So,
So again, I think
this is another huge book.
Yeah, there's a lot of content in here, like you said. Could they have done it differently? Sure, but they did it this way, and I still think it's cool. I think there's a lot of good stuff in here.
Like I said, there's a lot of bang for your buck in this book. Jeepers, Jimmy.
We're just adding new ideas to their brains. So whatever person is forced to listen to this from Warlord's perspective.
First, we're sorry. Secondly, here's some suggestions.
Yeah, we'd love to see some new stuff. Hey,
there's some encouraging stuff here though, like the new army rules and stuff like that. That's
very cool.
That's exciting.
Yes.
So, well.
And as soon as they tell us these are legal for play, like you can bring a Canadian army, and here's the list, and you can bring it to competitive play.
People are going to be, where are the Canadian plastic kits? How do I do it? How do I do a Canadian army? So, it's going to happen. So, and that's good. New armies are good. Excitement's good.
Very cool. All right. Well, that wraps this book. I got nothing else. And you guys, everybody be safe.
Yep.
Wear a mask.
I can do that.
I'm gonna be on the side of wearing a mask. I'm sorry, guys. Say goodnight, Pat.
Good night, Pat.
Come on, Pat. Just say goodnight.
Sorry, that was too easy to pass up.
I know.
This is Snafu. Over and out.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Nice. Good night, guys.
I give you a toast, ladies and gentlemen. I give you a toast, ladies and gentlemen. May this fair land we love so well in dignity and freedom dwell. The worlds may change and go awry, while there is still one voice to cry. An England, while there's a country lane. Wherever there's a cottage small beside a field of grain, there'll always be an England, while there's a busy street. Wherever there's a a turning wheel, a million marching feet. Red, white, and blue, what does it mean to you? Surely you're proud, shout it aloud, Britain's awake. The Empire too, we can depend on you. Freedom remains, these are the chains nothing can break. There'll always be an England, and England shall be free. If England means as much to you as England means to me.
Want to get there? Pat's going to delete that, I'm sure.
So wear a mask. Please wear a mask.
See, he's on board
as someone who's gone through the COVID exposure protocol.
Yeah.
Please
For all our
mask.
listeners in the rest of the world that seem to be handling this better than we are, keep putting your games on Facebook if you can, pictures once in a while, things like that, because we're living vicariously through you.
No, at this point I'm getting jealous when I see people in the same room together. I'm like, oh, how did they get to do that? Like,
right.
That's right. Yeah.
You're giving me something to hope towards, even if it's sometimes depressing.
All right. I say on that, masks aren't political, right?
It shouldn't be.
Maybe not. Okay.
It's just a mask.
Right.
I think everybody's on the same page now, so I think we're okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Let's go home. We're home. All right.